comes to talk. Welcome, everyone. Oh, man, today's a big day. A big day. We have so much to cover. We really do. And all right. Whoa, yeah, we have a lot to cover. This is a big day, people. A big, big day. We'll be starting shortly. I'm just setting up. If you're new, welcome, everyone. Make sure you subscribe. This is where manga comes to talk. We have so much to cover today. I'll be starting the mainstream shortly. We'll go over everything. All right. All right, now I'm going to start in just a moment. I have to listen to the end of this message. If you want to see and hear all the videos that I share on the show today, you got to go to my main stream, which is linked in the description. I just got to hear this, how it ends. I'm just listening to this. I just edited this, so I got to hear how it ends. Then I'm going to start the show. Okay, perfect. All right. 1 second, I'm almost set up. Just looking for one article that I want to cover. And then we're going to start. Okay. Here it is. Okay. All right, here we go. If you're new, my name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. I'm going to start my main stream up in just a moment. If you want to see and hear all the audio and video and the images and everything that I share, you have to go to my main stream. All right, guys? All right, stand by here. Here we go. Welcome to the program, everyone. My name is Brian Craig, and this is where MAGA comes to talk. And we got a lot to cover on today's program, plus your calls. The president had an amazing press conference yesterday. I'm going to play a clip or two of that. And we have just amazing new reporting that's come out on the attempted assassination of our great President Donald Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania, and the connection to the Charlie Kirk assassination, which is just incredible information that we're going to go into in detail on the program this morning. But I want to start with this incredible moment from the president's press conference yesterday. We were talking yesterday. President Trump has called the bluff of the Trump haters, the never Trumpers, the deep state, the Democrats, the fake news media, the trolls. He called Sunday night, he called for Congress to take a vote. It's a Republican Congress, and vote to release all of the Epstein documents, all the Epstein files that the government has. The vote is today. President Trump has called their bluff. So now it's up to Congress. And there's a lot of panic going on through Washington, maybe because some of them are afraid that they or friends or donors of theirs or mentors of theirs or themselves might be in those files, might be in those documents. There's a lot of panicking going on about that. And, you know, there's also a lot of panicking because the Democrats and the never-Trumpers, they planned on making the Epstein files their main issue in the midterm elections next year. So they won't have that if this passes through Congress. They won't have that to bring up from time to time to smear, to slander the great president of the United States, Donald John Trump. So President Trump has called their bluff. He's forcing their hand, and it's coming. And they don't want it to come out. Whether or not this passes is really up in the air because the panic in Washington over the passage of this. But he has called their bluff. This is a beautiful thing, and I can't wait. But he was asked about this during the White House press conference yesterday. I want to play this part. This is the president yesterday in the Oval Office. Wow. Wow. I mean, this is just great. I mean, President Trump, he's called their bluff. He's not playing games. They've been asking for this for forever and a day. He called for Congress to take a vote and release it. They scheduled the vote immediately. The vote's today. And right now, what they're trying to do, these panicked people in D.C., they're trying to find a way to defeat this bill and blame Trump for it, even though he's not in the Congress and he called for the vote, which they're doing, right? That's what they're trying to do. And it's a bill. They're calling it the Epstein bill. And you know what they do with these bills? They load them with a bunch of earmarks, a bunch of unrelated crap. So I imagine that both sides of the aisle are packing this bill with all kinds of insane, objectionable crap to delay it. But President Trump, you know, when you're a straight shooter, when you are an honest man, when you haven't allowed alcohol to touch your lips throughout your entire life, and you have nothing to hide, it's so easy for you to stand up and say, hey, release this stuff. And they're having panic attacks over it. Before I move on to other things, though, I would like to hear your thoughts on all this. I mean, how could you? This is the most transparent presidency this country has ever had. There'll never be a president as transparent as this ever again. It's beautiful. It's amazing. And we're very spoiled. So if you'd like to call in about it, you're certainly welcome to do so. The number's toll-free, 888-465-2631. And also, remember that this early show, this pre-show, as well as me continuing the show during the commercial breaks on the radio and such, is all brought to you by Mike Lindell at MyPillow. So make sure you do your Christmas shopping at mypillow.com with my promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. All right? Okay, so before I go phones, I want to cover this a little bit, okay? Because this is the main topic of today. Miranda Devine's reporting that Thomas Crooks, who was the monster who shot the president in Butler, and this connection that he has to the Charlie Kirk assassin. Now, and we have this furry fetish, weirdo, perverted thing that connects them now, as well as the style of the shootings, right? Both shootings were very similar in how they set up and everything, right? So what's going on here with Crooks and the monster in the Charlie Kirk assassination is just it's like a do-over. The Charlie Kirk assassination was almost like a do-over of Trump in Butler, except for the fact that sadly that monster was successful. And Miranda Devine, who's one of the best reporters alive today, she may be, she's in the top 2 journalists, Loomer, Devine. She's very good. Her book on the laptop of Hunter Biden's Laptop from Hell is one of the most important political books ever written. It reads like a political thriller. It's hard to believe that it is a true story when you read it, but it is. And I encourage everybody to get that book on tape, the audio book. And it's not just about the laptop. It's about the whole political life of Joe Biden. And it goes through his first run for the Senate. And what a low-life scumbag he was from his first campaign until his addict son doing that podcast interview that's everyone's been talking about on social media the last few days. It's just a family of immorality, debauchery, and just scumbagginess. I mean, just really low lives. Great book, great reporting. She's done great interviews with her. She's got a podcast that's put out by the New York Post. Miranda Devine's podcast is called Podcast One. It's very good. I haven't listened or watched every episode, but I've seen her on a few interviews, and she's very good. And she has this incredible article about Thomas Crooks with all kinds of new information that dropped. It was in the New York Post yesterday. I'm going to go through this with you guys. Tucker Carlson dropped a piece on Crooks last week. It was very good, asked a lot of questions, and Miranda Devine is answering a lot of the questions that were posed by Tucker Carlson in his reporting last week. And she has very good contacts, right? The President of the United States and the senior staff, including Susie Wiles. So they obviously, the Tucker report came out, and they obviously went to Miranda Devine and said, hey, here's a bunch of new information. So I'm going to go through this article. This is Miranda Devine. Here's the headline. FBI, Secret Service butchered the Thomas Crooks case and invited conspiracies. We deserve the truth. Byline, Miranda Devine. This is yesterday's New York Post. Miranda Devine writes this: we are all owed a better explanation from FBI and Secret Service about the attempted assassination of Donald Trump 16 months ago at a campaign rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. The president himself remains unsatisfied with the answers he's been given about the circumstances leading to 20-year-old Thomas Crooks climbing on a rooftop with an AR-15 style rifle and firing 8 times at Trump, narrowly missing his head but hitting his ear. Crooks was shot dead by a Secret Service sniper, but not before he killed rally-goer Corey, whose name I just always butcher and can't pronounce very well. and seriously wounded 2 others who were sitting in the bleachers behind President Trump. There is something very wrong with the official story, and that invites conspiracy theories. The president demanded answers months ago. A man was murdered. What is going on? Then FBI Director Chris Wray told Congress after the July 13th, 2024 attack that the Bureau had found nothing in Crook's online history that pointed to a motive or political ideology. See, this was the main focus of Tucker, but he just doesn't have the sources Miranda Devine has. I guess they cut him off a little bit. A week later, Wray's deputy, Paul Abate, I guess I pronounce his name, told Congress that comments posted on one of Crook's social media accounts appears to reflect anti-Semitic and anti-immigration themes to espouse political violence and are described as extreme in nature. Thanks to an enterprising source who uncovered Crook's hidden digital footprint, we can see that Abate misled Congress by omission because he left out an entire section of Crook's online interactions from January to August 2020 when he did an ideological backflip and went from rabidly pro-Trump to rabidly anti-Trump, and then went dark, never seeming to post again. See, what the Chris Wray Biden autopin FBI did is pretty simple there. What they were doing was trying to paint him as a MAGA guy, right? Among the 7, back to Miranda Devine here, among the 17 accounts uncovered by our source were ones on YouTube, Snapchat, Venmo, Zelle, GroupMe, Discord, Google Play, Quizlet, Chess.com, and Quora. The online interactions from when Crooks was ages 15 to 17 give us a better understanding of his evolution into an assassin and invite more questions about who or what reversed his ideology. The danger Crooks posed was visible for years in public online spaces, says the source. His radicalization, violent rhetoric, and obsession with political violence were all documented under his real name. The threat wasn't hidden. The official narrative claimed he acted alone and without a clear motive, ideology, or digital footprint. That's the Chris Wray Biden autopin FBI. Yet, the source found reams of information that shows Crooks was not simply some unknowable lone actor. He left a digital trail of violent threats. Oh, I lost my place. Okay, extremist ideology and admiration for mass violence. He spoke openly of political assassination, posted under his real name, and was even flagged by other users who mentioned law enforcement in the replies. Despite this, his account remained active for more than 5 years and was only removed the day after the shooting. None of this online activity was referenced in the final congressional report released in December 2024, making this even more troubling, the source said. Starting with Crook's phone number, the source used tools available to private investigators and web archives to obtain the assassin's very visible online persona. Crook's most prolific activity was on YouTube with 737 public comments and was suspended the day after the assassination. Crook's trajectory from pro to anti-Trump is evident. He referred to Trump as the literal definition of patriotism in a comment at 1:17 a.m., July 20th, 2019. He also issued threats against politicians, which I'm not going to go through. Those are all in the article. You can read the details of that. He said some things I'm not going to say. But in early 2020, Crook's online behavior flipped 180 degrees, and he became very critical of Trump. Fox News and Republican complaints about mail-in voting. The first time he criticized Trump was on January 23rd, 2020, when he commented on a video of law professor Jonathan Turley talking about Trump's first impeachment. Keep in mind, the only reason we may know about any of this is because of Trump's stupidity, Crooks wrote. He started describing Trump supporters as a cult. How can you people call others sheep? but you are too brainwashed to realize how dumb you are. He wrote February 26, 2020. I mean, literally, you guys sound like a cult at times, talking about MAGA people. In April 2020, Crooks was constantly criticizing Trump's pandemic response, saying he was too slow and everything he's doing should have already been done. Through the summer of 2020, Crooks' online rhetoric became increasingly radical and violent. Then he said a lot of other things that are threatening, that are all in this article, but I'm not going to read through them because it's not appropriate for me to repeat these. Among the 17 accounts uncovered by our source, writes Miranda Devine, only one on PayPal was operated under an alias, Rod Swanson. Rod Swanson is a former senior FBI agent who was the chief of investigations for the state of Nevada during the 2017 Las Vegas mass shooting. It's hard to believe that's been over 8 years. That's when I first heard of Laura Loomer, by the way, because she did a lot of coverage on this. First time I heard of her. I remember seeing her online. It might have been Periscope. Loomer went to the home of the security guard from the casino to interview him. Rod Swanson also previously served on FBI Director Robert Mueller's protective detail and as a firearms instructor in Pennsylvania. Contacted by phone over the weekend, Swanson said he was surprised his name was connected to Crooks. I don't know anything about that kid or his family, he said. I don't even use PayPal. I don't even know how to set up a PayPal account. He said he retired from the FBI in Vegas in 2016 and went to work for the Nevada Attorney General from September 15 to March 2020. He now works in the oil and gas business in Houston. Okay, so that's a lot of information about Crooks's online activity that the Chris Wray Biden FBI did not share. Now, the next part gives us the connections between the Butler attempted assassin Crooks and Charlie Kirk's assassin in Utah. I'm going to get to that next. My name is Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. We'll take a quick break. And remember, this early show and all the extras that I've been giving you here on YouTube and my podcast are brought to you by Mike Lindell at MyPillow. Make sure you use my promo code KANE at checkout, KANE, and do your Christmas shopping. Those of you watching with the green wall behind me, to see and hear all the audio and video and images, go to my main stream, which is linked in the description. All right, we're back. So back to this Miranda Devine article. If you're on hold, hang in there. So Miranda Devine, if you're just joining, Miranda Devine did an incredible, very detailed story yesterday on the Butler assassin, Crooks, and his online activity. And the next part is where you get the major connection between Crooks, the Butler shooter of President Trump, and Charlie Kirk's assassin. Okay, now remember, the official story from the Biden FBI was there was no digital footprint, except for this thing many years ago trying to portray him as a MAGA guy. The next part, his furry fetish. This is all in the article. Miranda Devine in New York Post yesterday. I did post this on my X, Brian Craig Show on X, if you want to read the whole thing for yourself. I just lost my place in the article. The New York Post put so many pop-up ads and everything on their online version that it's hard to read these articles sometimes. Okay, the furry fetish, here we go. Back to Miranda Devine's article. Again, callers on hold, stand by. When told of Crooks' online threats, he said there was no way the FBI would... This was the FBI agent from the Vegas shooting where Crooks used his name as an alias on PayPal. When told of Crooks' online threats, he said there was no way the FBI would not be aware of the teenager. No matter how ridiculous the allegation, no matter if it's COVID or not, somebody is going to knock on somebody's door, Swanson said. That's the FBI guy. If they investigated that kid, there's a record of it. And there's an assessment that some leader made that this was not a threat or it rose to a level and they did something else. He also said that if the FBI had that information about the name on the PayPal account, I can't even imagine they would not have reached out to me right away. Given Crooks' pattern of tracking high-profile mass shootings and violent events, the source believes it is plausible that he adopted Swanson's name as a private joke. Like alleged Charlie Kirk assassin Tyler Robinson, here we go, like alleged, because the Charlie Kirk assassin, even though he's confessed, is alive and facing trial, so they say alleged. Like alleged Charlie Kirk assassin Tyler Robinson, Crook appears to have been interested in furries and exploring gender identity. He described himself with the pronouns they, them on the platform DeviantArt, which is one of the biggest online hubs for furry art in the furry community. A furry is someone who has an interest in this is a word I don't even know how to pronounce. Anthropomorphized animal characters, often as a sexual fetish. Oh my goodness. There's not even a nickname for this, I guess. That's the clinical name, these furry weirdos. 2 accounts linked to Crook's primary email were found on DeviantArt. And they give the usernames. The accounts suggest he had an obsession with scantily clad cartoon characters sporting muscle-bound male bodies and female heads. One of the people Crooks interacted with online was Willie Teps, a member of the Norwegian neo-Nazi group, the Nordic Resistance Movement, which has since been designated a terrorist organization by the State Department. Teps encouraged violence and Crooks' extremism using a Maoist phrase, political power comes from the barrel of a gun, which Crooks repeated several times. In a comment on October 5th, 2025, more than a year after Butler, Teps commented on another user that he had been contacted both by Russian and American intelligence. People who ask you to contact them when they just as easily could contact you are feds. This is how they avoid entrapment. Both American and Russian intelligence does this. I've chatted to both, he claimed. Shortly after his interactions with Teps, Crooks disappeared online. Did his brush with the Norwegian and his own violent rhetoric win him a visit from the FBI or the Secret Service, she asked as a question. If not, why not? If so, why has it not been disclosed? The FBI refused to comment when asked on Sunday whether Crooks was ever investigated, visited, or in some way brought to the attention of the agency before he tried to assassinate Trump, or whether there was an FBI file on Crooks before Butler. The FBI also refused to comment on why it has not been forthcoming on congressional oversight request. Wray told Congress in July 24, 11 days after the Butler shooting, that the Bureau did not have any prior information about the shooter and that he was not in our holdings before the shooting. He said the FBI ran a search for Crooks through its databases. He was not found. Susan Crabtree, an investigative reporter for Real Clear Politics, who has broken multiple stories about the failures at Butler, says Her key Secret Service source from the 2020 time period told me that Crooks was not a person of record at the U.S. Secret Service in 2020 and wasn't known to the Secret Service until Butler. Something doesn't add up, Miranda Devine writes. Wray had been heavily criticized after the Parkland shooting because the FBI failed to act after being repeatedly warned about Nicholas Cruz. That is true. Was Wray trying to avoid being blamed for another atrocity on his watch? Is that why he downplayed Trump's injury when he testified to Congress a week after Butler and falsely suggested the now president had not been struck by a bullet, but by shrapnel from his podium? If the Secret Service had become aware of Crooks' anti-Trump rhetoric in 2020 during Trump's presidency, protocol is that it would have determined if he was a threat and offloaded to the FBI to take over the investigation. We don't know what happened because the Secret Service after-action report is classified. The only bodies that could look at it are the intelligence committees in Congress, which so far have shown little curiosity. A criminal investigation of a presidential assassination or attempted assassination falls under the jurisdiction of the FBI. Therefore, any comments on the subject would come from the Bureau. Requests for information from the FBI have been rebuffed, and it goes on a little bit about that. And she ends by saying, it's hard to believe the FBI and or the Secret Service missed Crooks. The question is, what did they do about him? So we've got this furry thing. Yeah, I wanted to go through all that because I don't know if I'll have time during the radio show to go through that entire article. I will go through the furry friends part again for sure. But with these two, you know, I've told you since all this happened, right, on everything. Hold on. All right, that the same people that shot Charlie, shot the president in Butler, shot Kennedy, shot Bobby Kennedy, shot Martin Luther King. I've said that many, many times. This is proof of it. Someone in this circle recruited both of these guys. I don't know if it was this Norwegian guy that they're talking about, but someone in this circle recruited them both. They have these furry friends connections, which is such a freakish, bizarre fetish. How many people are involved in that fetish? And out of the, so what are the odds that two people involved in an obscure fetish, which is, it's beyond typical, you know, anything, both are involved in the assassination and the attempted assassination of the top two people in the MAGA movement, President Trump and Charlie Kirk. And both of the shootings are done in the same style, on the roof with the long rifle, on the roof of the buildings. Remember all that? So there's a signature to these that look like the same person was behind the planning of the assassinations, right? So this is a very tight circle. This is a definite connection between the two. Let's hope that they get to the bottom of it because there's a lot of important connected journalists looking into it. And Miranda Devine, I trust her reporting. She's very, very good, and she's all over this. And her article that I just shared with you went viral yesterday. I am sure she's going to do follow-ups. And her article, because of who she is and her connections and friendship, her article's been seen by the president, the vice president, Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, Susie Wiles, and the rest. That's just the way it is. It is a truth. They've all seen it. So the president wants the answers to these questions too, because he wants the people that tried to kill him brought to justice. He doesn't want to go through the rest of his life with these people out there walking free. He wants to take care of this while he's in office. So believe me, he's all over this. And it's very possible that the reason that he lost his voice was not yelling at someone about trade agreements, that he was yelling that they hadn't gotten to the bottom of this, which I think it's more likely that the president was yelling at some people on his staff and maybe even Pam Bondi about this. If you remember, let me see if I have this. I think I might have shared this. President Trump on Truth Social commented on a post that I was in shock about. Let me pull this up. Yeah, here it is. President Trump commented on a meme on Truth Social. He wrote, "Ray lied," but the meme was a meme that someone had posted of Pam Bondi and had Chris Farley's character from Saturday Night Live, the guy that lives in a van down by the river. I don't know what the character's name is, but I live in a van down by the river. And the meme says, for the love of God, just arrest somebody. And the van down by the river guy is yelling at Pam Bondi. And President Trump commented on that meme. So that was amazing that I was like, what? And then he said he was yelling at someone. He said it was over trade deals with his voice. I think it's more likely he was yelling at Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, and Dan Bongino over this article that Miranda Devine published yesterday that I just shared with you. All right, now I know a lot of you have been on hold, but I wanted to get through that in its entirety because I don't know if I'll have time on the radio show to read through that entire article today, although I'm going to go through the furry friends part. But if you'd like to call in, please do. The number is toll-free, 888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. If you're watching live, the number is pinned in the live chat. I'll tell you another thing that you may have noticed. We've been a couple days into this, including my podcast yesterday. President Trump, right, since he called on Congress to take this vote on the release of the Epstein files, where are all the callers about the Epstein file? Haven't heard from some of them. Haven't heard from many of them. The people that have been calling about the Epstein file release, what are they, in witness protection now? Right? They're usually, oh, what about those Epstein? They'll call in and they'll say, oh, I voted for Trump twice. I voted for Trump 3 times. I voted because I believed he'd release those files and he just hasn't released, all that fake MAGA. Where's all that fake MAGA about the Epstein files? Now that President Trump called on Congress to vote to release them all, and the vote is scheduled for today. Absolutely. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back. Now, the radio show will be starting shortly. If you're on hold, hang in there. We'll be right back. All right, we're back. I'm Brian, and we're a little bit past the top of the hour, so the radio show's starting in a couple minutes, so I'm not going to be able to take any of these calls until after the radio show starts, guys. And remember, this early pre-radio show portion is brought to you by Mike Lindell at MyPillow, so make sure you use my promo code KANE at checkout, K-A-N-E, and do your Christmas shopping. There's great deals there. You're seeing the ads, and I'll just tell you, I want to thank everybody because you have been supporting MyPillow with my promo code KANE, and I'm trying to make this a permanent deal going into the new year, and that will depend on the response you all show, Mike Lindell, over the Christmas shopping season. All right, guys? Let me see. What time are we going to be? Okay, we got some. Okay. All right, we got a couple minutes until the radio show starts. Did any of you see this big hype that Candace Owens did yet? She did all this hype that she had some big breaking story about the Charlie Kirk assassination. Then she had this thing about an airplane and the Egyptians, but blaming the Egyptians. I don't know why. I don't understand why the Egyptians would want to assassinate Charlie Kirk. Seems a little bizarre. You know, Candace Owens, I don't know how, sometimes I think she's completely insane. Sometimes I think she comes in and I don't know. But she announced a week or two ago that her podcast is the #1 podcast in the world. And what she's trying to do is maintain that. Believe me, if she, you become #1 in the world, that's more than Joe Rogan and everybody. That's a pretty amazing accomplishment. And what happens with a lot of influencers in the new media, and this is what's happening to her, she is checking constantly what her numbers are. And she's getting more and more outrageous, which makes her look more and more ridiculous all the time to try to maintain that #1 podcast in the world status. And if she continues down this road, right now people are laughing at her over this Egyptian thing yesterday, just laughing at her. And that's one of the worst things someone in her position could have happen to them with what she's trying to accomplish, right? She's becoming a meme. She's becoming a punchline, an object of ridicule. And if she sees her numbers go down just the slightest, she's going to try to do something to boost them back up, which means, this Egyptian thing was an attempt on that. She's going to continue to get more and more outrageous all of the time until, she does something that is crazy and over the line crazy. Right now, people are just laughing at her, but she's going to get into doing something that's just over the line and outside the boundaries because she wants to maintain that #1 podcast in the world status. It's really sad because all of us in MAGA, like with Marjorie Taylor Greene, used to be big fans of her, right? It seems these women in our movement, many of them just can't hack it, huh? All right, we'll be live on the radio in about 20 seconds. Stand by. If you're on hold, hang in there. Welcome to the program, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. This is Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 49 years on the radio. Okay, a lot has happened since yesterday. Today's a big day because there's a lot going on in the news today. But one of the big things today is the vote is scheduled in Congress on the release of the Epstein files. And this is an amazing thing because President Trump on Sunday night got off of Air Force One in D.C., and he called for Congress to take a vote to release all of the Epstein files and documents, all of them. So the vote's scheduled for today. And there is panic going on throughout Washington, D.C. and media circles. The Never-Trumpers, the Democrats, the fake news, they're all in a panic. Their main panic, I think, is not so much what's in the files, it's what's not in the files. Because the president's predicting that they're going to be very anticlimactic, and I expect that too after the Martin Luther King and JFK files. Months ago they were released. Nothing's been reported. Nothing was in them. And there's been that big mythical, all the answers are in the MLK, JFK files and nothing. came out of it. And that'll probably be a lot of what this is today. But the main panic in Washington, D.C. isn't what's in the files. It's that they were planning on the never-Trumpers, like the George Bush, Jeb Bush Republicans and the Democrats and the fake news media, were planning on using the Epstein files not being released, blaming Trump for it, and then having that as their main issue in the midterm election season. And Trump has taken that away from them. So what I would imagine is going on right now in Washington, and has been going on since yesterday, is that these insiders in D.C. are trying to find a way to stop this so-called Epstein bill from passing, but doing that with being able to blame Trump, even though he's not in Congress. Now, usually what happens when any type of bill, this is just an instinct and just a reaction or a reflex that members of Congress in both houses have. Anytime there's a bill, they all throw in, you hear about the earmarks, they all throw in the earmarks, the special little goodies to make themselves and their donors rich. So a lot of times when there's a bill up and they don't want it to pass, they fill it with a bunch of crap. And sometimes you'll hear Congress or the president, we need a clean bill, which means none of that garbage attached to it. This is going to be, whatever a clean bill is, they're probably trying to figure, well, let's make it as unclean as possible and put things in there that are objectionable, like Medicaid for illegals or Planned Parenthood funding or things like that, so that Republicans can't vote, MAGA Republicans can't vote for the bill. They're trying to find a way to get this bill either voted down or not voted on at all and somehow blame Trump for it. Yeah, the swamp, they're working hardcore. They probably were up all night working on this. Okay, so what happens with that, hopefully it passes today and everything gets released immediately, unredacted. That'd be great. All right, I mean, that's what we're all hoping for. But the president said yesterday in the Oval Office that no matter what they release, it's never going to be enough for these people, right? Like the Kennedy and MLK files. I'll play him talking about it in a little bit because there's some points to be made about what he said. But that's, they're never going to be satisfied. They're always going to say, oh, there's not enough, or this is being held, that's being held. You're never going to satisfy these people. We get that. The haters are going to hate. The Trump derangement suffering lunatics are always going to hate on Trump and blame Trump for everything. But those who support him know the truth. So I'll take some calls. And again, I started the early show like almost an hour ago and covered quite a bit. So if you'd like to call in about anything I brought up so far, you're certainly welcome to do so. The number is toll-free, 888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Adam from New York.
Hey, New York. What's on your mind?
Hey, Brian. I want to ask you something quick. Ted Cruz, there's rumors that he might run for president again.
Yeah, sure.
But I thought he was a Canadian citizen.
No, he's a U.S. citizen. He was born in Canada, but I always thought that was questionable too. Okay, he's got a Canadian birth certificate, and when he was running for president in the Republican primaries, it was talked about a little bit, but it didn't get pushed too far because he dropped out before it really did. But there's a backstory to that was reported on quite a bit at the time, but it's been over 10 years and people have forgotten. I'll tell you about it real quick. Because the question is, why was he born in Canada, Ted Cruz? And he does have a Canadian birth certificate. And this is the deal. And a lot of people believe this story, and I believe it. What I'm about to share with you, I do believe this is true. There was reporting on this over 10 years ago, and everyone's dropped it because Ted Cruz, became MAGA and laid off Trump and became an ally, so it got, it faded away. But there's a photograph, remember before the Kennedy assassination, Lee Harvey Oswald was in New Orleans, and he was involved in this front organization that was an Castro group, this Cuban group, right? And if you remember the movie JFK with Kevin Costner, Kevin Costner played Jim Garrison, that local prosecutor who was investigating the JFK. There is a photograph and you guys can look this up online. I haven't looked at this in years or read the stories about it in years, but I covered it a lot at the time in that first primary. There's a photograph of Lee Harvey Oswald that we know 100% is Lee Harvey Oswald on a sidewalk in front of that building he was organizing out of in New Orleans, with a Hispanic man who looks and is believed to be by many as Ted Cruz's father. And I've seen that reported.
Right, I heard the same story before.
Yeah, well, a lot of people haven't, so let me tell them. So Jim Garrison, who Kevin Costner played in JFK, was looking for, he had subpoenas out for a couple of Cubans exiles who were connected to Lee Harvey Oswald. And that I think is even in the movie. And they could never find them. And Ted Cruz's parents were living in New Orleans at the time this photograph was taken. And then they miraculously, suddenly, and unexpectedly moved from New Orleans to Canada. And that's where Ted Cruz was born. And a lot of people believe that Ted Cruz was born in Canada because his dad was hiding out from Jim Garrison and his subpoena. And I'll tell you why I believe that. It's not just because the photograph looks like Ted Cruz's dad. Ted Cruz came up through politics through the Bush family, remember, right? He was the Solicitor General with George W. Bush in Texas when he was governor. And George Bush, the father, not only was in Dallas with the FBI on the day of the Kennedy assassination, he had connections as a handler, it was believed, with Ted Cruz's dad. So I do believe that all that's true, and that's why he was born in Canada. Now, with all that being said, that's some very interesting stuff to me, very deep statey. I am a little confused about this Canadian birth and birth certificate. How's he eligible to run for president? I hope it comes up again, as well as this Oswald stuff I just shared. Mm-hmm. Yeah, those are good questions.
Yeah.
John McCain, by the way, was not born. John McCain was born at the Panama Canal. His father was stationed there. There was questions about that too.
Right, but but they were on a military base, correct?
Yeah, but a military base is not an embassy. I don't know. There's, it's a little. This whole thing with Ted Cruz is very sketchy. And, Ted Cruz, since Trump got the nomination, has done everything right. So he's been helpful to us. So I haven't worried about it too much. But if he's going to run for president against one of our handpicked MAGA people like J.D. Vance or Marco Rubio, these are questions that are definitely going to come up.
I'll do a write-in. How's that? I'm going to write in Candace Owens.
Why would you do that?
She should run for president.
Why? To lose? So you're going to basically, if you do that, and this isn't just about...
you know what?
Yeah?
I'm done with the Republican Party.
Oh, okay.
And,
you're done. Okay.
So
you know what you're doing? You know what
there's lies. After Charlie Kirk, that raised a lot of questions.
Oh, really? You think the Republicans killed Charlie Kirk?
And
wait a minute. Slow down. No. Don't move on. Don't move on to another question.
Laura Loomer pushing you this?
No, I've never talked to Laura Loomer about Candace Owens.
Well, she's been bad-mouthing Candace all the time.
Oh, okay. I did not know that. No, I've never talked to her about that.
I used to like your show and stuff. But, yeah.
Well, listen, if you are not going to vote...
Don't worry, hey, Brian, don't worry.
No, you don't worry. If you're not going to let me talk, I'm not going to talk to you. All right? I don't mind somebody giving me a hard time and questioning me and all that stuff like you're doing and calling me out. That's cool. But if you're not going to stop talking so I can respond, we're not going to have a conversation. You can call back if you want to have a conversation. All right. Oh, man, Thanksgiving's right around the corner. Don't go to Thanksgiving in pain. Go see Dr. Appleton and say bye-bye to your pain. Dr. Appleton and his robotic laser wave pain treatment is an amazing device, I'm here to tell you. What it does a couple of things. First off, it rids you of pain, which is the most important thing. But I want to talk a little bit about how it works. It repairs the damage in your body that is causing you the pain. That's why the 7 times that Dr. Appleton has treated me for pain and rid me of pain, the pains haven't returned because he fixed the damage. Whether it was from my car accident, my falls on my skateboard, my arthritis, none of the pains have returned. But what the robotic laser does, it's robotic. It moves around the entire area. As an example, when he was treating me for my arthritis in my finger, the robotic laser moved around the entire finger. Did the same thing with my knee. Did the same thing with my shoulder. It moves around the whole area. Front, top, sides, the back, everything. And the entire thing is treated with Dr. Appleton's robotic laser away pain treatment. And it works. And it works on every type of pain I have ever heard of. Arthritis, bronchial neuralgia, bursitis, hip pain, knee pain, lumbar pain, muscular contraction, strains and sprains, tinnitus, sciatica, tennis elbow, neck pain, stenosis. The list goes on. Post-surgical swelling. If you've been in a car accident and are in pain, go see Dr. Appleton. If you've been told you need surgery for your pain, go see Dr. Appleton before you have that surgery. All right. The consultation is free. If you have X-rays or scans, bring them with you. Dr. Appleton will look them over. Take advantage of that no-charge free consultation and let Dr. Appleton share with you how he can rid you of your pain, like he's done with me 7 times. Remember, walk-ins are welcome, appointments never necessary, even on Saturdays. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. That's 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonChiro.com. We'll be right back. All right, we're clear. Now, that guy that I was just talking to, I want to be very clear about this. Those of you that take issue with anything I say, the reason that we do calls screenless and unvetted on this program, which we do not have to do, okay? We could have the calls answered by someone, and we don't, because we want raw, unfiltered callers on the air, which means every call, those of you that are new, when you call in, no one answers the phone. I just put you on hold. No one knows who's online, including me, until I say, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? So the phones are completely unscreened and unvetted. We do that so that people that do take, there's several reasons we do it. One of the reasons is, for those of you who take issue with anything we say, you can get on the air and say your piece and have a discussion. You can call us out on anything at any time, but you have to stop talking between the criticism so we can have a discussion about it. And there's no other show anywhere that does this. Anywhere. Even other shows that do take calls don't do them completely unvetted and unscreenless. They may claim they do, but they don't. To take unvetted, screenless calls every day, and I do this 7 days a week because I'm here live streaming every day. It's a skill set that I've learned over the years. Okay, when I first started over 30 years ago, I wasn't so good at it, but now I am. But still, no one in this audience, no matter how much you hate, can say that you're not given a forum here for criticism and to call us out on anything we say or any position we take on the program, okay? And that's one of the many things that make this show the best show anywhere. This is the best, there's one thing I was going to talk about. Hold on, how much time do we have till we get back from the break? I don't have enough time to get into that. Maybe I will at the bottom of the hour. Because somebody asked me today what I do for a living, and which is something I ask people a lot. And then I realized something when they asked me. So I'll get into that at the bottom of the hour. Okay, we'll be back at about 45 seconds or so. So, like that one guy that asked about Ted Cruz and everything. I mean, it was, I would love to have had a dialogue with him about everything he said. Okay, here we go. Stand by. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, guys. And if you want to call in, the number's pinned in the live stream. Welcome back, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. Our number is toll-free, 888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. You're welcome to call in about anything we brought up so far. I cannot believe it's November 18th already, by the way. This year has gone by quite fast. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, it's Renee from Harlem.
Oh, hey, Renee.
So, Brienne, I'm listening to your diatribe, and you're trying to claim that you give people a voice?
Yes.
That's a lie.
Yes, like you.
You talk over people, and you don't let them talk. You don't let them finish sentences. And then you try to castigate people. The last time you tried to tell me my IQ wasn't high enough to consider recognition. And you, of all people, are the most ignorant person on the air and should be talking about somebody's intelligence. That's a joke.
Okay.
You really need to check yourself.
All right. Now, can I respond? You began by, I want to comment and ask you about two charges you made, okay? You said two things in the beginning of this call to me. You said, I'm a liar and I don't let anyone finish a sentence. I want to ask you two questions. First off, who else does a show like this that you can call in randomly just like you did and call them a liar on the air?
Well, when I find one, I'll let you know.
This is the only one. Okay, that's one. The second point is you claim I don't let anyone finish a sentence. Before I responded, you completed a dozen sentences.
That's a rarity.
You just made that's another sentence right there. That's a rarity. Just completed another sentence.
That's 2 words.
Okay, there's another sentence. These are short sentences, but indeed sentences.
Yeah. So what? I should give you credit for that?
There's another sentence. So you're just wrong. You say I don't let people finish sentences, and you're finishing all kinds of sentences.
I brought that up a few times. You're a racist. Why don't you dwell on that?
There's another sentence. I mean, you're just
So deal with it.
There's no other show where you could call someone, you call me a liar, you call me a racist, and they would let that happen. So there's one of my favorite books. I've not read this book in many, many years, but I think I might read it again. And I don't know if I'm going to get the Kindle or paperback edition. I used to have this book. It's a great book. It's a book by Ernest Hemingway. You familiar with Hemingway? He's the writer? The writer?
Oh, let me see. I think I've heard of him, stupid. Of course I've heard of him.
Okay. Well, there's one of his greatest books that's not one of the more famous ones. It's called Death in the Afternoon. And it's Steve Kane turned me on to this book many, many years ago when I first started working for him. And it was part of my apprenticeship when I started with Steve Kane all those years ago. Death in the Afternoon is Hemingway's book. It's not a novel. I'm not sure how to describe it, what genre it is. I don't know what genre it is, but it's a book about Spanish bullfighting. And when you're in a discussion like you and I have, it's like a bullfight. That's all. I'm just better at it than you.
No, the bull is going to die.
That's why I made a fool out of you over that I don't let anyone finish a sentence.
Man, you are ignorant.
There's another sentence. You just completed another sentence.
Yeah, okay.
You're an idiot. That's another sentence. See this bullfight? How I'm not even awake yet. I haven't even had all my coffee.
I got a book for you. Why don't you shut up? I got a book for you.
Yes.
It's by Che Guevara called Venceremos.
Yeah.
You don't even know what that word means, do you?
I barely graduated the Spanish. I almost didn't graduate college because of the Spanish requirement.
Because you're ignorant.
No, I'm not good. No, I don't need to know Spanish.
Oh, really?
No, I had to take it for college, but it was tough.
You hardly know English.
Yeah, I know Baño, which is where this call is making me want to go.
Where?
Baño, the Baño, El Baño.
Oh, yeah, okay.
You know what that means, or are you ignorant? What is Baño?
You need to go to the Caucasus Mountains.
You don't even know. You're giving me a hard time that I don't know some Spanish word. I give you one you don't know. It means bathroom.
Duh.
Well, you didn't tell
You
me.
think I don't
You're
know
making,
that?
see, this is the
You
bullfight.
think
I
I
won
don't know
again.
that?
The bullfighter won
Are
again.
you really-
You were
you
making
think
fun
I
of me
don't
for
know that?
not knowing how to translate Che Guevara's book title. You didn't know a basic word like baño until I told it to you.
Duh. It's baño, not baño.
Oh, now you're just you're repeating what I
You know
said
Spanish,
and then putting an
you idiot.
accent on it to sound like you know the Spanish. Oh my goodness.
The language.
Death in the
you idiot. You
Afternoon
don't
by
even know
Ernest
English.
Hemingway. It is a great book.
You don't even know English.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even know English. You gonna talk about Spanish?
No, I don't talk about Spanish. I just was winning the bullfight again. Another round lost by you.
Yeah, you're a cabron. You know what that is?
I don't know. Do we have to dump that mic? All right, take care. Thanks for the call. Oh, my goodness. All right, if you're on hold, the number is 888-465-2631 if you'd like to call in. It's time for our bottom of the hour break. Oh, it's time to talk about George Colony. Oh, man. This is George Colony. We got George Colony here on the program. He's our newest sponsor, joined us here in the month of November. And he's, of course, our real estate agent. And he's a top guy. He has been involved in billions of dollars of real estate transactions, both on the buying and selling end. He has founded an 8-figure business. Yeah, I know, huh? Pretty amazing. And he knows real estate in Florida like no one else. If you have a home, which it could be a single family home, it could be a condo, or any other type of property, including commercial, that you're interested in selling to these New Yorkers that are moving down here, they're paying top dollar. New Yorkers are paying top dollar. Call George Colony. Get your home on the market. Meet with him. He can help you, by the way, whether you're buying or selling. And, the condo market here in Florida has run through a rough patch because of all that, everything that's been going on with condos lately. Because of Mom Donnie and the fleeing of New Yorkers to Florida, the condo market is heating back up. Call George Colony about that. I'm going to give you his number in a moment. This number you can call or text. It rings directly to George Colony's cell phone. I was introduced to George Colony by Tom Laporta from Laporta Roofing. So like Tom Laporta, he gives out his cell phone, so you can call or text him. He knows real estate like no one else, and he's based out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. So if you're looking to move to Florida or sell in Florida, give him a call for any type of property. He can help you on both sides of the transaction, selling your current property and buying a new one, or if you're moving here, he can help you. If you're looking to rent a property, he can help you. If you have a property that you want to rent, he can help you with that too. This is the time. This is the hottest time in real estate. You want to get in while the top dollars are being paid. Here's the number. Give George Colony a call or a text on his cell phone right now. 954-801-7320. 954-801-7320. That's 954-801-7320. We'll be right back. All right, we're back. If you're on hold, stand by. Just on Renee's call, just tell you guys this. You know how I just toyed with him and just, that was totally without effort on my part. You guys watching, you could tell, right? With most of these liberal callers, even when I tear them down, I don't go at them full strength. I didn't go full strength with him, But he proved the point that I was making during the last break, that the calls are totally screenless and unvetted. You can get on the air with any criticism of anything you hear. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't call in if you agree. I enjoy those calls too. But if you take issue with anything that's said on this program, pick up the phone and call. All right, now, remember, do your Christmas shopping at mypillow.com. I'm working pretty hard to make his sponsorship a permanent thing in the new year for the early show, the pre-show that I'm doing. And you guys have responded very well, and I've got good reports from Mike Lindell. So to make that permanent after the first of the year, please do your Christmas shopping. Go to mypillow.com and use our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, and load up. All right, we're back. Now, we're still in radio break for about 30 seconds. If you're on hold, stand by. I'm going to go to the phones when we get back. If you'd like to call in, the number is toll-free, 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call, no matter where you're tuned in from. I only need the headphones when I'm playing audio, when I'm at my studio here, so. All right, here we go. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977, celebrating 49 years on the radio. All right, let's go to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, Kevin from Brooklyn.
Hey, Kevin, what's up?
Brian, first of all, I want to say you got a great show. I've been listening to your show for 4 years now. And, you know, I don't know why you got to entertain that Renee. He is most the prejudiced person that I heard on this radio for the last few years here.
Yeah.
Everything is negative to you. He has to say, why does he even listen to the show?
Because this is the best show anywhere. The reason he gets angry is because he knows that we're so right here. All of us, me, Steve, you callers, MAGA, Trump, it's frustrating for him. I mean, think about it. Renee's in Harlem. This communist Muslim just got elected, and he's still miserable.
Well, you know, I'm from Brooklyn, New York, from East New York section.
Yeah.
We have the same type of people. But you know something? I mingle with a lot of people, but I never seen a moron like Renee talking on this phone the way he does. Okay? It's amazing. It's just amazing to me. There's other better things to listen, good things that you're saying, you know, and, you know, he's a Democrat. That's why. He's a Democrat.
Yes.
I'm a true Republican all the way. I used to be a Democrat until I woke up and I found out what was going on.
Yeah.
You know, so I commend you for everything that you do.
Let me ask you, what's the, well, thank you very much for your compliments. What's the feeling in Brooklyn right now with Mamdani coming in as mayor at this point? Now it's sunk in.
It's a disgrace. It's a disgrace. That's what it is. You know, thank God I got a place down in Florida also that try to run away from these people. You know, it just that even all my friends, we all feel the same way. Mm-hmm. Okay? I've been born and raised in New York all my life. You know, my family, everything. You know, we never seen things like this happen.
You know, I'll tell you one thing.
Giving everything away for free.
My wife and I, around Christmas time, my wife and I, we like to watch a lot of live feeds out of a lot of people that live in New York. They have like YouTube channels and they walk around and they show all the great Christmas decorations around the city, and we watch that every year. It's a lot, you know, it's part of New York, right? Christmas in New York, and I'm just wondering, are we going to start seeing around holiday time Islamic symbolism at, you know, the skating rink at Rockefeller and all that stuff? You know, I wonder, because that's what's happening. The Islamification of New York City. This is the beginning of it.
Well, you know something. I'm with the Knights of Columbus. I've been I'm a pastor at night and all. You know, and we believe in keeping Christ in Christmas. Listen, I'm not knocking no religion. We're all together, whatever our beliefs are. But you know something? Some of these people are way out of hand. Way out of hand. Mm-hmm. You know, it's disgusting what's going on.
Well, you know, like, let me tell you,
74.
Right
I'm
now.
74.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm 74 years old, and I'm glad I lived the generation that I lived, because the generation today, they need to wake up. They need to wake up.
Well, you know, as an example, Hakeem Jeffries, right? He's got a primary challenger that's one of Mamdani's friends, and he's Muslim, right? So I mean, look what's happening. It's beginning. Ilhan Omar, Talib, Mamdani, now Mamdani's got a friend of his, a Muslim friend of his, who's going to try to primary Hakeem Jeffries out of office. I never thought this would happen after 9/11. Who would have imagined?
Well, that's a disgrace, because I've been down there, when 9/11 happened and stuff. So, and it's a disgrace. But a lot of these things that he thinks that he's going to be able to do, it's going to be very hard for him to do what he wants to do, because some politicians will stop him.
Yeah.
He's not going to make the city destroyed the way he thinks he's going to be. Mm-hmm. But, that's what I have to say.
All right.
Like I said. All right. Thank you very much.
Good luck
Brian.
to you, and thank you for your kind words. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Jose from the Bronx.
Okay, from the Bronx. What's on your mind?
Thank you very much, Brian, for everything. You're doing a great job. It's everything great. Right now, just remind me, what's the topic for today? I don't want to speak out of my mind, but
I've been talking about a lot of things, but but you called me for something. What's on your mind?
No. It's not Friday. It's not Friday. But
I was talking. Well, today they're taking the vote to release the Epstein files, and we found out that the crooks that tried to kill President Trump in Butler was part of that furry fetish thing that Charlie Kirk's assassin was a part of. So we got some connections between the Charlie Kirk and Trump assassin now. I did a very, very extensive coverage of that at the beginning of the show.
No. I'm very unhappy with the FBI, with Cash Patel. I know it's not their fault. I know they're taking over the investigation for the previous regime with Biden, but yeah, it's very suspect.
I don't know about. I don't know. President Trump. A couple of things happened yesterday. Okay, I went through early on this article by Miranda Devine, and about the Butler assassination and all the unanswered questions. And a couple of things happened with President Trump yesterday. It was mostly how the FBI had dropped the ball. Two things happened with President Trump. First, earlier in the day yesterday, he commented on Truth Social on a meme that blew my mind. I couldn't believe this. It's a meme. It's got Chris Farley's character from Saturday Night Live, the guy that he would say, I live in a van down by the river. And he's yelling at Pam, in the meme, he's yelling at Pam Bondi. And saying, for the love of God, just arrest somebody. President Trump commented on that meme on Truth yesterday. So he saw, I think this is what happened. He saw Miranda Devine's article and got pissed off. He commented on this, and at his press conference yesterday, he was hoarse. He was asked about it. He said, I was yelling at some people about trade deals or something or other. I think he was yelling at Pam Bondi and Cash Patel and maybe Bongino that they haven't gotten to the bottom of these assassination attempts on his life. I think that's why he was. I think he was yelling at Pam Bondi and Cash Patel yesterday. That's what I think. I don't think he was yelling at somebody about the trade deals.
I think that's fine. That's fine. Like, he's gonna get on top of them and be like, I need resolutions, because the media is killing him. It's right now, like, with the pricing, the Epstein files, and everything is like, they're just caving on him, and that's not fair. Mm-hmm. Like, he's been doing a great job.
Absolutely.
Trying to live the country, picking up for Biden, and people don't understand that it takes a while for us to do, I know he passed a big, beautiful bill in July or whatever, but it takes a while to implement. So it's like, God.
Yep. No,
they're
that's
just
right.
They're just stabbing him, death by 1,000 cuts.
No, he's doing fine.
And
President Trump's doing well. Hey, listen, I appreciate the call, though. Take care, all right? Yeah, if you're on hold, hang in there. And I certainly like to hear your thoughts on this. When the president said, I don't know if I have the audio of him talking about his voice. Let me see if I have that. But when he said that, I thought it was interesting. But then when later on he said that I noticed he was hoarse, and then when he said that he was yelling at somebody about some trade deals, that didn't make a lot of sense to me, because all the trade deals have been going well. Now, I don't have that. I don't have that article queued or that soundbite queued up, but I'll get to that in a little bit. If you'd like to call in, the number's toll free 888-465-2631. You know, Miranda Devine's article was incredibly detailed, and he went through quite a bit. Or she went through quite a bit in that article about Crooks and his online footprint and where the FBI has dropped the ball since we have the new Trump FBI. And I could very much see him looking at that Miranda Devine column and being plenty ticked off. I know I was ticked off about it, and I'm not alone with that. I promise you. Speaking of Christmas, this new offer from Sloman's Home Security is a great Christmas gift. I'm going to go through this special offer they have for a very limited time. Sloman's, this is a great offer that you can get in your own house for your own family or yourself in your home. But this is also a great gift for your adult children that live outside the home, your elderly parents. This is a great gift for them. Sloman's Home Security is offering a free home security system with free professional installation and 24/7 central station monitoring for just $24.99 a month for 5 years. That's pretty amazing, isn't it? Isn't that pretty amazing? Absolutely. For 5 years. Doesn't get better than that. That's right. And what you're getting is absolutely amazing. You're getting a free home security system and professional installation. It's absolutely free. Your Sloman's Home Security system includes a touchscreen keypad, 3 door window sensors, a motion detector, notifications, and remote keypad. So you can check in anytime, no matter where you are in the world. You might be at the grocery store, the mall, or on vacation in Europe. Give them a call. This makes a great Christmas gift. 833, that $24.95 a month for 5 years. What a great offer, right? Plus, it's a free home security system and professional installation. 833-283-5050. 833-283-5050. That's 833-283-5050. We'll be right back. All right. See if I can find that audio of the president. If you're on hold, hang in there. I didn't have it queued up. I think he was yelling at them. Let's see. Well, I don't have it, I guess. I thought I did. Well, it doesn't matter. You heard him say it. I don't need to go to all this trouble to get that audio of that. All right. Okay, hold on, guys. Okay. What? Jerk. I just got a message from somebody. Unbelievable. There we go. Okay. All right, we'll be back in about a minute. So, guys, hang in there. Oh, boy, oh, boy. Less than a minute, we'll be back. Stand by if you're on hold. If you want to call in, the number is toll free and it is pinned in the live chat. 888-465-2631. 888-465-20. I got a haircut yesterday, so I'm having a hard time getting my hat fitting right. I had to make it smaller because I have less hair. Here we go. All right, we're back. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. Before I bring up anything new or do any recapping, I'll take some of the calls on the line. If you'd like to call in, the number is toll free, 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, how are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
My name is Hassan. I'm calling from Cyprus. It's an island in Europe. I don't know if you know.
Yes, I know. It's where Biden has $10 million in a bank account for some strange reason. Yes, I know. Yeah.
I'm Canadian,
and
I'm Cypriot. I support your show. I've been watching it for some time now. Just wanted to say something to get it off my chest. In Europe, there's a influx of a lot of migrants. And no leader is as brave as Trump to stop this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's why I love Trump. Because he has the courage to stop the illegal immigrants. Here in Europe, it's full of immigrants. Like, sometimes I feel like I'm not at home. You know what I mean?
Well, it's not, English, is English your first language?
Yeah, it is my first language.
Okay, because immigrant's not a good word. Because immigrant's the wrong word. I mean, what's happened in Europe is it's been invaded and overrun and conquered. And migrants. Let's say migrants. And in many places, it's been colonized. And they're attempting, like I was talking earlier, Mamdani has a friend of his that's going to, that they announced, I'm going to get into this a little later if I can find the article. I was reading this article this morning. I'm not sure if I posted it. I don't know if I got it ready. I'll look for the article. But Mamdani's got a friend that's going to who's Muslim, who's going to run in the primary against Hakeem Jeffries, right? So so there's an attempted colonization going on now in the in New York, and Europe has already fallen, and now they've moved over to our country.
No, but the thing is that since the migrants have fluctuated in Europe, we have no place. Like, there's no place to go. You know what I mean? You feel like your culture is slipping away. You feel like your land has been taken away. You know what I mean? Like, there's no strong leadership as Trump. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like,
there's only one Trump.
There needs to be strong.
We only have one of him here.
I know. I wish we had one in Europe. I wish we had one in Europe.
I wish we had 10 more of him here.
Yeah. It's a big story. I just wanted to get that off my chest and let you guys know.
See, let me tell you what you talk about, because some liberals will think you're a bit. What happens is, this late. when you talk about these new invaders, whether it's, and it's not just Muslim, it's also, Latin Americans here in the United States, they're not becoming members of that country. They're not assimilating.
Yeah, they're not.
They're not assimilating. They want people in Europe to assimilate to them. They want people in the United States to assimilate to them in their third world ways. And that's where the problem is.
Exactly, and that's what I was trying to say, but I couldn't say it because I got nervous because I'm on live. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get it.
That's what I was trying to say.
No, but that's the problem, and it's a big problem, and it's not a good one to have.
You have to abide by their rules. Yeah, you have to abide by their rules.
That's right.
They don't care about your culture.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. Yeah, I know. It's really a sad thing, but that's where we are, man. And but we're standing up to it here, but we just we weren't successful in New York. And in New York, with this friend of Mamdani's, that's there's a story in the news today that the mayor of Dearborn is telling, oh, don't worry. A lot of people in Dearborn, Michigan are complaining that they're being awoken in the middle of the night by the Muslim call to prayer. And the mayor of Dearborn, oh, it's not that loud and all that. Why is this even an issue in this country? Why is the Muslim call to prayer being blasted throughout the air? Give me a break. And it's not, it's insane. So Dearborn's lost. New York is on the verge of total collapse and being conquered. Hakeem Jeffries will lose to this guy, probably, because Mamdani's got a lot of momentum and powerful people behind him, and his campaign people will transfer to this guy running against Hakeem Jeffries, and he'll win. And we got to stand up against this.
Do you think Trump will win do you think he'll run in 28?
I hope so. I'm wearing a Trump 2028 hat right now. I wear it almost every day. I hope so. We need another term of Trump.
Yeah. He's the man that says the right things, He's the man that says the things that aren't supposed to be said, but he does it,
That's right, and he does it. All right, take care. Appreciate the call. This is the beginning, right? And I know somebody just will say, well, Hakeem Jeffries is a bad guy. He is, but do you want him replaced with a friend of Mamdani's who's Muslim? I want you to think about it. And my entire life, before 9/11, I knew one Muslim person I worked with when I was a teenager, and knew him just a little bit. And I only knew he was Muslim because I remember during Ramadan he was fasting, and we worked together. It's when I worked at Publix when I was in high school. He was an adult. He worked at Publix. I remember his name, and I remember him fasting during Ramadan. I didn't even know what it was, but during my entire life, I knew one Muslim person. And now we got a Muslim mayor of New York coming in. We've got this Muslim guy who's looking to primary out Hakeem Jeffries. And of course, we got the members of the squad. We've got this issue in Dearborn, Michigan that's in the news today. There's a big change happening, and it's a Trojan horse. Except it's not really in secret. It's right there in front of us. When you look at the old story, you're like, how could they fall? That obviously is a myth. How could they fall for this Trojan horse? Couldn't they tell? Well, that's what's going on here, right? It happened in Europe, and now they're trying to do it here, the Trojan horse. It's happening. We are living through it. We are experiencing it. And if you speak up about it, they try to shut you down and call you names and call you a bigot and all this stuff. No, we're not against immigration, but this new wave of immigrants are not assimilating. They want us to assimilate to them and their ways and their culture. And the reason that most of them come here is because their societies are third world or anarchies. So why do we want to assimilate to the culture of anarchy and third world when we're first world and on top of the world, right? Oh, man. All right. Our number is toll-free, 888-465-2631. I want to talk about Friendly Tire in Margate, where you can get new tires out the door and on the road for as low as $75 a tire. Remember, Friendly Tire doesn't charge you to balance the tire, mount the tire, or even dispose of your old tire. And that as low as $75 a tire price, that's on common size tires on some of the most popular vehicles on the road today. Okay? And every once in a while, I'll check in with Mike. Is that still? And he's like, absolutely. Yeah. You know, in this day and age, people are worried about the price of things. Friendly Tire in Margate is, you know, we have listeners that drive over an hour each way to get tires at Friendly Tire in Margate. And I found Friendly Tire, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago out of necessity. And what had happened is I used to have a four-wheel drive Jeep Wrangler soft top, you know, and it had the big oversized four-wheel drive tires. And I got such a great deal on it. And when I had to buy tires, I found out why I got such a great deal on it. Those tires are expensive, except at Friendly Tire in Margate. And I remember the first couple of times I bought tires from him, I bought used tires. He asked me, I remember, I didn't know Mike personally then. I drove up, he says, do you want new or used? I didn't even bother to ask for new tires because I priced the new tires around. I just got used tires. And then third time or so that I bought tires from him, I said, hey, what are the price on new tires? He gave me the price and I was like, what? New tires? He said, yeah. And I bought nothing but new tires ever since. Give him a call. He'll give you a quote right over the phone, 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. He has all the name brands you know and love. Pirelli, Michelin, Firestone. I like Firestone. If you've got run flats like I do on one of my cars, incredible deals on run flats. He can get tires for any type of vehicle too. We have people that take high performance Porsches over there, Corvettes, rust buckets, industrial vehicles. A lot of our listeners that are Uber drivers and Door Dashers and stuff, they go through tires and they don't make a lot of money. So they go to Friendly Tire as well. He also does tire repairs, which other tire shops do not do. Give him a call. He'll give you a quote right over the phone. And remember, that's out the door and on the road. Okay, that's the final price. No added charges once you're there like these other tire shops do. Make sure you tell him you heard about him on the Steve Kane Show. He'll take extra good care of you. 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445 for Friendly Tire in Margate. All right. We're going to take our break for the top of the hour shortly. When we come back, we'll get back to the phones. I'll recap on some of these major stories that have been breaking. If you're on hold, stand by. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977, celebrating 49 years on the radio. My name is Brian Craig. Our number is toll-free, 888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you are tuned in from. And today's the big vote in Congress on releasing the Epstein files. Very exciting. We'll take a break and be back. Wow. I'm having internet issues this morning. Is your Twitter down, X down? I'm not able to access X. My X is down. I was having this problem a little while ago, and it's down. Let me see if I can get it on my other device. Nope, it's on all my devices. Twitter is down. Yeah, Twitter is down. All right, we'll be back shortly. Twitter is down in South Florida. Holy smokes. That's not good. Tried on multiple devices, and it's down in South Florida. Some issue in Miami. Hopefully he'll get back soon. What a mess. We'll be back in less than 30 seconds. All right, we are back. I'm Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show. Hour number 2 has begun, although really it's 3 because I start an hour early online, the pre-show, which you guys can catch on my YouTube channel, Brian Craig Show on YouTube. Twitter is down in South Florida. Holy smokes. And we're going to have to go old school until Twitter's back up because my stack of stuff, back in the old days, when we, before the internet, you know, and I had to get newspapers and magazines, it was a mess, especially in the mornings because newspapers, most places you couldn't get the newspaper before 5 a.m., and it was even hard to get them at 5 a.m. Plus, it cost a lot of money. Then you have to go through them and read them, you know. And what I do now is just, I cannot remember the last time I bought a newspaper. When's the last time any of you bought a physical newspaper? Not for the coupons, for actual news. It's been a long time, hasn't it? Yeah. And what I do for my stack of stuff is I post everything I read all the time, every day of the week, every hour of the day. If I read something that I thought, oh, this might be interesting to talk about, I post it to Twitter, X. And then what I do during the show is I go through my Twitter feed on the desktop or on my phone, and I pull up the articles from my Twitter feed. But Twitter is down, X is down, so I don't have access to my stack of stuff, but that's okay because I remember everything I read. But that's how I always do it. It'll be there's some outage in Miami. It's a South Florida downing of X. But you become so dependent on these things. It's like the EMP is hit, right? And you don't have it. And then when you don't have it, you don't have it. And it's just we're so dependent on these things. It's really crazy, isn't it? But we got a lot of things to cover. And today is a big day. Welcome back, everyone. My name's Brian. This is the Steve Kane Show. At the end of yesterday, before I get into the new stuff from today, at the end of yesterday's show, we had some really breaking news. And because it was at the end of the show, we didn't really get a chance to discuss it too much. And let me pull this up because my wife and I, we don't do much grocery shopping in person. We do most everything on Instacart. And my wife was doing the grocery shopping on Instacart yesterday while I was on the air. And she texted me a couple of things that I brought up at the end of yesterday's show. But because it was at the end and we had a bunch of people on hold, we didn't get to a discussion about it. And I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. So I'm going to go over this. And this just blew my mind. One of the biggest things that there's been 2 issues that the forces of evil against our favorite and greatest president, Donald Trump, have been bringing up. One's the Epstein files, which he has completely neutralized them on, right? He called on Sunday night for Congress to take a vote and release the Epstein files. And the vote's going to be today. So, and again, they're doing everything they can do, I'm sure, to try to figure out a way to not let that pass because they don't want that to pass. Mainly, Congress doesn't want the Epstein files released because they want to have it in their back pocket to use against Trump in the media cycle. So believe me, they're trying not to release they don't want this bill to pass. But that's the Epstein file and Trump's. The other thing they attacked Trump on, these forces of darkness, is with the food prices. And this is what my wife texted me yesterday from Instacart, and this is crazy. First, steaks, this is at Publix, the Instacart. This was yesterday. All steaks, 23% off. So I have steak in my freezer for the first time in a while. My wife bought some steak, and I love steak, but the last couple times I looked, it was so expensive, I felt like it was cheaper to go out. So steaks are down 23%. But get this. This was what was crazy. And my wife took screenshots of this and texted it to me. And this is a sale. As of yesterday, it ends in 2 days. So is today the last day or is tomorrow the last day? But listen to this. Turkeys are 81% off at Publix right now. 81% off. Is that nuts? Listen to this. Now, these are the Publix brand turkeys, 81% off. Publix Young Turkey, they're limiting it to 2. I love those limiting things to create scarcity and marketing. And they think people are done. Who needs 2 turkeys? Well, I don't know. Maybe you got a big family. Publix Young Turkey, limit to 16 to 20 pounds. USDA grade A. 16 to 20 pounds. That is a big bird, isn't it? $11.25 each. The regular price is $59.78. 81% off. A 12 to 16 pound turkey you can get for $10.31. 81% off. Normally $54.79. A 20 to 24 pound turkey. That's a massive turkey. 20 to 24 pounds. This is on Instacart at Publix. Publix brand turkey as of yesterday. And it says this sale ends in 2 days. So I don't know if today's the last day or tomorrow is the end of the 2 days. I don't know, but this is on now. A Publix turkey, 20 to 24 pounds, just $11.94. 81% off. The normal price, $63.48. You can now get for $11.94. So what's going on here? Why do we have an 81% price in turkey prices and 23% drop in steak prices? And I think the answer is pretty simple. It's the SNAP. Since they haven't had SNAP, right? And I got a call from a truck driver yesterday who said they're delivering less food to the grocery stores. They're not selling as much food. So they're lowering the prices. SNAP, food stamps, government buying of food has been driving the price of food up. And if you look at anything the government gets involved in, it drives the price up. We're now learning, this is the first time the government involved in paying for food has driven the price of food up. Government covering college tuition has driven the price of college classes up through the roof. The worst thing, I remember when I was in college, the books were crazy. And every semester, they had a new volume of the book. So you take a class, last semester's book was no good, so you couldn't buy a used copy from another student or something. You had to get the new book. Hated that. Government started covering books and tuition at college through the roof. Obamacare, Obama got the government involved in private health insurance, prices of insurance through the roof. Everything the government gets involved in goes through the roof. Now we're learning for the first time what impact government involvement with SNAP benefits, food stamps, has done to food prices. So the secret to getting food prices back to an affordable level, and they're still making a profit on these birds and on these steaks. They're not giving them away or taking a loss. Right? They're still making money on it. But the way to keep food prices down is to do what President Trump did. The Secretary of Agriculture said over the weekend that everyone's going to be cut off of SNAP. They're going to have to reapply and prove their eligibility again. So we need this major reform of the food stamp, EBT, SNAP benefits because they're making food unaffordable and driving the price through the roof. 81% off turkeys, all steaks 23% off at Publix for 2 days on Instacart. And by the way, these prices are Instacart prices, which adds a little bit to the price. So what are they actually in the store? Probably a little less. So all these people on SNAP are the reason that we're paying through the nose for food. Now, speaking of Thanksgiving, you don't want to go into Thanksgiving in pain. Be pain-free before Thanksgiving. Go see Dr. Appleton. The consultation is free. No appointment is necessary. Walk-ins are welcome even on Saturday. So take advantage of that no-charge free consultation. Walk in, see Dr. Appleton, and let him tell you what his robotic laser wave pain treatment can do for you, so you can say bye-bye to your pain for Thanksgiving. You can give thanks to Dr. Appleton for ridding you of pain. His laser wave pain treatment works. He's rid me of pain 7 times. I was at Friendly Tire on Saturday, and I ran into a listener, and he was telling me how his lower back pain, which would put him out of commission, is gone now, thanks to Dr. Appleton's laser away pain treatment. You know, with Dr. Appleton's laser away pain treatment, there's no surgery, no drugs, no downtime. It's completely painless. You don't even feel the treatment being performed. Dr. Appleton performs all the laser treatments himself. The best part is it works. He's rid me of pain 7 times. The first time was over 3 years ago. And guess what? All those times he's treated me, the pain has not returned in any of those parts of my body, because Dr. Appleton's robotic laser repairs the damage that caused the pain. So he rid me of pain, and the pain has not returned. My knee, my shoulders, my arthritis, all of it gone and is not returned, thanks to Dr. Appleton. So do it for yourself for Thanksgiving. Or you know what? It's a great holiday gift. If you've got a friend or a loved one in pain, take them to Dr. Appleton. Get them that laser away pain treatment. Let me tell you, that'll be a gift they'll be grateful for. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. That's 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll take our break and be back with your calls after this. This doctor said, why even have a green screen? If you go to my mainstream, you get all the benefits of the green screen. The link's in the description. We're in break right now, but this is kind of a behind the scenes look. Click the link in the description. It'll take you to my mainstream, and you get all the green screen effects. All right. Twitter is back. X is back. It's crazy. Oh, my goodness. I don't even need it, but the fact that I don't have it, right? We'll be back in about 30 seconds. We're still in break on the radio. If you're new, my name is Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. You know what I mean? Welcome, everyone. Here we are. We'll be back. I'm going to go to the phones when we get back. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977. All right, to the phones we go. You're welcome to call in about anything I brought up so far. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, good morning, Brian.
Hey, Richie.
Couple of things I'm going to say. First of all, under no circumstances can I blame President Trump for the grocery prices. And Brian and I shop in the same store, basically, Publix. I mean, he does the Instacart, which is a little more expensive.
Yeah.
My wife is outside right now walking the dogs. I have 2 dogs, and when she comes back, I'm going to Publix because I knew about this. I was in Publix 3 days ago.
Yeah.
I spoke to the butcher, who's a friend of mine.
Yeah.
And he said that's a loss leader. They're bringing people into the store with the 49 cents a pound at the store. Mm-hmm. The Butterball is like $1.19 on sale. Mm-hmm. And he says it's just as good as the Butterball. He says, trust me. You know.
Oh, absolutely. It not only is just as good, but it really shows you. And by the way, this isn't just Publix. This is all the grocery stores, including Walmart.
Yeah.
Because of the SNAP, they're not selling as much. So you've got the capitalist system working, driving down prices. And that's the government involvement in paying for people's food is the main factor driving the price of food up.
Yeah, I'm going to blame Publix on this one. Most of the people that I talk to, that I know of quite a few, it's a local Publix right around the block from me. I can walk there. They all know me, and I'm friends. And matter of fact, the lady works down the street, works for them, and she also works at a food bank, and she gives turkeys out, 10-pound turkeys to people. But here's the deal, okay? They say they won't shop in Publix. Although the turkey is 49 cents, and I'm not blaming President Trump for this, I'm blaming the greed of the store, the chain itself. You look at the size of the gravy jar. I almost fell down on the floor. I walked and saw Heinz gravy in a jar. They shrunk the jars. Yeah. All the orange juices are shrunk. Publix, I mean, it's not for nothing, but they've taken advantage of the people, too. They're just trying to make as much as they can off of our suffering. And it's not Trump. It's business. You know, I know what you're talking about. And, I promise you, okay, the local meat manager at your local Publix he's not at the buyer level. Okay, I know what you mean because I don't. Because I know Publix managers and stuff. So I promise you, at the buyer level, the steaks are down 23%. Okay, turkey's one thing because it's Thanksgiving. They're going to do a lot, right? They're still making money. They're not, or at least breaking even. They are not losing money on the turkeys or the steaks. 23% off. I promise you. If you went to the wholesale buyer level. Yeah, they're bringing people in. Yeah. So it really shows you. I don't like to use liberal words like greed. When it comes to business, but the food prices have been inflated because the grocery stores got them up there and they just won't lower them. Their profit margins. No, they won't lower them. And it's not President Trump's fault. Everyone's blaming Trump for this. Yeah. It's a Democratic talking point, like the rest of the crap.
That's correct.
Hey, this is not one man like the President of the United States can't control what Publix is going to charge me for turkey gravy or anything else. It's a joke.
I just hope that the president gets briefed about this. Like this story, he knows Publix because he's a Florida guy, and I'm hoping that us talking about this, that somebody from the Mar-a-Lago crowd will pass this on to the president because, and this is not just Publix, this is true at all grocery stores. The prices have dropped, the shrinkage, but the prices have dropped in the last week dramatically because of the
I
food
believe
stamps.
that.
And we got to
believe
get the
that.
government out of the business of paying for people's food as much as possible to get the prices down.
Well, don't you want Mondani to give you free grocery stores like in Venezuela, where we've seen pictures where there's no food on
Let
the
me tell you
shelves?
something. When I got a man who's eating porridge or whatever that was with his fingers and telling us this is just like a hamburger or fried chicken, I don't want anything to do with Mondani and food. I mean, talk about table manner. I have a few pet peeves, and my biggest pet peeve is, proper table manners. I wouldn't be able. I wouldn't be able to eat with Mamdani the way he eats. No.
I got to ask you one question. I got to ask you a big question, and since you're table manners, this is really a New York thing. Do you eat pizza with a knife and fork, or do you actually eat it folded?
No. Who eats pizza with a knife or fork? The only time I've had any pizza with a knife and a fork is when I've been starving, and I go someplace and they bring me the pizza. It's so hot, it's boiling. So I'll cut off the tip and blow on it. That's the only time. No.
You eat pizza like a New York guy.
That's how Americans eat it. That's how Americans eat it. Anyone who eats pizza with a knife and fork, beyond that first hot bite of that corner, they're not American.
No.
All right, Richie, I got to move on, but I appreciate the call. We're getting a little far afield of any topic. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, how you doing? It's Jeff. How are you?
All right, Jeff, what's on your mind?
Brian, what's on my mind? Brian, why, you're talking about food prices and everything like that for Publix and everything like that. Why aren't you talking about the real stories, like the Epstein files? And who's Bubba? That's what I want to know.
Well,
is it Clinton?
Well, first of all, I did the entire show yesterday. I did on the Epstein files, and I did two segments about it today, including playing a long clip of the president talking about it.
You talk about who which one is the LGBT?
Not only did I do the whole show about the Epstein files. Excuse me, I'm answering your absurd question. Not only did I do an entire show on the Epstein files yesterday, when Steve joined in, he reprimanded me on the air multiple times for talking about it, and I continued to talk about it.
Steve? Oh, the guy, the Steve
now you want to
insult?
Now you want to insult Steve? I mean, what's the matter with you? What's the matter with you?
Steve.
You're about to. I just stopped you. I just said you're talking about. So, Steve, President, I'll just get you up to speed. I'll give you 2 days of programming summed up in a couple seconds, which is more time than you're worth. But President Trump got off of Air Force One Sunday night at Joint Base Andrews, and he called on Congress to take a vote to release all the Epstein files. They are taking the vote today. Excuse me, I'm answering your stupid question. They're taking the vote. They're taking the vote. They're taking the vote today. They're calling it the Epstein bill, and they're going to send it to President Trump to sign, and he said in a press conference yesterday he will sign it.
Okay, yeah. Well, they were going to vote on it anyways.
No, they weren't. Nope. The Democrats stopped the vote on it last week. Nope, sorry.
No, they did not.
Yes, they did.
Wow, man, you are misinformed. You are totally misinformed.
I know.
All right, so what are you going to do, Brian? What are you going to do if Trump is implicated in this?
He's not going to be implicated in anything.
Oh, okay. All right.
Here's my question to you. What are you going to do when he's not implicated?
Well, I hope that whoever is responsible.
No. When Trump is not implicated, are you going to call in and apologize and say, you know what, I made all these implications and he's not implicated. I'm sorry I did that. You going to do that, Jeff? Be a man and man up? Yeah, I know. The whole idea, even he's laughing. The idea of him being a man is even comical to Jeff. Let's talk about Jupiter Joe Thomas and annuities. Annuities, to me, annuities are the most amazing thing. When Jupiter Joe Thomas explained annuities to me, which only took a couple of minutes, I'm like, why isn't everybody doing this? I don't understand. Your money's not at risk. You're guaranteed income for the rest of your life, every month. And there's all kinds of different annuities for all kinds of different things, like the income doubler if you have a health issue for you or your spouse, or the annuities that have bonuses like 10 to 15% you make on day one before you even leave Joe's office. I don't understand why everyone's not doing this, you know? And you want to take advantage of Jupiter Joe Thomas's no-charge consultation, which you can do in person at his office. You can do on the phone or through Zoom. And no matter where you're located, give him a call and take advantage of that no-charge consultation. After that no-charge consultation, Joe Thomas is going to put together a custom proposal just for you based on your situation. And I am just amazed at how annuities work. Everyone should be in these. I don't see why anyone wouldn't. And you know, this no-charge consultation from Joe Thomas, there's so much value in that. Listen to this. Joe Thomas has over 30 years of experience as a retirement planning advisor. He's a 5-time qualifying member of the $1 Million Roundtable, which is achieved by fewer than 1% of all financial advisors in the world. So he's a top guy in the business with over 30 years of experience in the business, and the consultation's free, and he's based in Jupiter, where Don Jr. and Eric Trump live. You know, you're getting financial advice from a guy that is based out of one of the wealthiest communities in America and has all that experience, and it's free. Wow, that's amazing. Give him a call and schedule your no-charge consultation. 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. That's 561-743-0999. And if you missed the number, just go to his website, jupiterjoe.com. That's jupiterjoe.com. We'll be right back. Oh my goodness. I almost felt bad for Jeff there. He's laughing at himself. Oh my goodness. We'll take a quick break, guys, and be right back. All right, we'll be back shortly on the radio. Let me check. Yeah, 1 minute, we'll be back. So I'm going to take the calls when we get back on the radio. If you're on hold, stand by. Yeah, somebody had just emailed me about advertising on the program. If you're interested in advertising, you can send me an email. You go to my website, briancraigshow.com. The email that you see at briancraigshow.com goes directly to me and me alone. Nobody else checks that. All right, stand by. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. And go right back to the phones. Our number, 888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brother Brian. Am I coming in okay?
Loud and clear.
Hey, I love that guy from New York, man. His call puts Renee right on the bullseye. Renee, why don't you get a bullhorn, go down to Central Park, and profess your love for Trump? I'm sure you can get an audience.
Yes.
Okay? Now, Brian, yesterday your podcast hit the nail on the head, like I was trying to say. When the SNAP benefits didn't hit, the stores were empty and clean and quiet. That let us know that these stores already had the data. Most people may go to the store once a week. These people can hit the store anytime because they have so much money on their card.
Yeah.
So now we know where the discrepancy in these big prices being dropped. What business wants to lose profit? So what happens is it rebalances itself because we are the suckers, the taxpayers, like I was trying to emphasize the other day. Okay, we are the suckers. So now it's leveling. It's just like tariffs. It levels itself. This might cost a little bit more, and this will cost a little bit less. Okay.
Yeah.
Yesterday, and Brian, your phrase, let Mandani be Mandani. Well, let New York do New York, because we're going to primary everybody. Plus, we have the Senate. And you cannot forget Elon Musk has his own money. He's going to push his people in there. The Democrats are not going to win anytime soon, because once we finally get the voter ID, Democrats are done for, I don't know, they might not win till after 2070, 2080.
Yeah.
If we can get it our way. Hey, did you see Trump scolding the Bloomberg reporter
I
when
did.
he came up the plane?
Is that the one that he called Piggy? Is that who she was? The one he called Piggy?
I'm not sure if he called her particular name. He just said that she was just very rude,
Yeah.
And the takeaway is this.
Oh, we got a bad connection, but I got to let you run. But your cell phone got all crinkly there. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, hi, I'm Matt. I'm from California.
Yeah, Matt. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about Epstein.
Okay.
Talk to me about your willingness to call out Trump and his DOJ's connections to Epstein.
The only connections that Trump has to Epstein right now and Pam Bondi as well, is their desire to release all of the Epstein files and documents and records.
What do you think of the fact that there's lots of evidence of him partying with Epstein for years?
They have like 4 photographs, right? Before Trump found out about Epstein, they have like 4 photographs. And they recirculate those like 4, there may be 5, but there's like 4 photos. They recirculate those 3, 4, 5 photographs over and over again. And it's so what? When you're a celebrity, people take pictures with, people come up to me and take pictures with me all the time. I don't know who they are, what they are. I don't do background checks. Nobody wants to take pictures with you that is not friends or family, if you have friends. So you don't know what that's like. It's like with Stormy Daniels. Stormy Daniels took a picture with Trump because he was famous, and you think you have sex with everyone you take a picture with?
Prince Andrew paid millions to settle with Epstein. Alan Dershowitz, he's a huge Trump defender, was named under the Epstein list.
Well,
Bill
listen.
Barr,
Well, they're going
DOG.
They're going to release all the files. They're voting on it today, so you'll get what you wish for. You'll get all the documents, and you'll be satisfied. Take care. All right. Oh my goodness. There you go. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Brian, you didn't answer my question. You hung up on me.
No, I didn't hang. I did hang up on you, and I don't remember what you were talking. I'm gonna let you through this second time. Hold on a second. I'll answer the phones. Listen, the call between you and I had reached its conclusion, right? You brought up something. I don't remember what it was exactly now because you're not very memorable of a caller or a person. But I remember how it ended. I said to you at the end, you were talking something about Trump and the files, and I said, when he's not implicated, are you going to man up and be a man and admit and you laughed at yourself at the idea that you would do something manly, and in the beat of that call, that's where the conversation peaked. And that was the best time to end it. All right. So I'm going to hang up on you again. All right. Take care. It's one call per show. I mean, you're laughing at the idea of you being a man made you laugh at yourself. Oh, my goodness. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, my name's Tony. I just wanted to say...
Hold on, Tony. Hold on. Let me answer these other lines.
Business support.
Go ahead, Tony. What'd you say?
I said, welcome to Pedophile Greg in the Morning, where we touch little girls and talk about fucking pedophiles.
There we go. First dump of the day. If you're on hold, stand by. Mike is, we got to wait for the delay to re-engage. You know, this is really an amazing thing that's about to occur. All these weirdos and perverts and never-Trumpers and Democrats and fake news media, and there's a lot of crossover with all those groups. They've been asking for years, release the files. We just want the Epstein files. They've been, and now President Trump called on the Congress to release all the files. And they're going to vote on it today. Now, again, they're working hard to find a way. It's a bill. They're calling it the Epstein bill. My guess is they're going to fill it with a bunch of earmarks to try to stop it from being passed. Their problem is, how do they blame Trump for it not passing? So Trump has called on them to release everything, to pass a law to release everything. So this is what I say to you. Be careful what you wish for. You're about to get it. Okay? And it's not going to fit your perverted fantasies. Now, while we're waiting for the delay to re-engage, there's no better time to talk about Coastal Weight Loss Secret. You know, when I lost all this weight, over 35 pounds, you know, it really was almost like I wasn't even trying, because Coastal Weight Loss Secret is so easy. And I was worried about that. You know, was I going to have to exercise? No. Was I going to have to starve myself? No. Was I going to have to eat food that I didn't like, that tasted terrible? No. You know, and of course I didn't have to take any medications. I was watching a commentator. I'm not going to say their name, Philip DeFranco, on YouTube yesterday. I'd not seen Philip DeFranco in a long time. I don't know what he's done to himself, but he doesn't look healthy. And I don't know that he's taken any of those medications, but he looks like the people that do. You know, I see these people, men and women, mostly men, they take these pills and shots. Some of them tell you, I don't know about DeFranco, but he looks like those guys do. And they shrink, and they don't look healthy. I look like I'm supposed to look, right? And I could have lost more weight, but I thought, you know, hey, listen, this is what I weighed 29 years ago. This is my ideal weight. You know, that was 29 years ago. My 20s was when I was in prime physical condition. I think that's where I want to be, and that's where I'm at. And I look great, I feel great, and it was like I wasn't even trying, and I lost all this weight. Coastal Weight Loss Secret can help you no matter where you're located in the United States. We have listeners nationwide that have lost literally, not figuratively, literally a ton of weight. Give them a call and schedule your no-charge consultation. 561-247-6300. I'll tell you another one that you don't want to look like. Ryan Seacrest. Have you seen Ryan Seacrest? Holy smokes. I don't know that these guys are taking these pills or injections, but you don't want to look like them. They look like the people that have. You don't want to look like them. You want to look like yourself. 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightlossecret.com. We'll be right back. All right, if you're on hold, stand by. Back to the phones after the break. All right, let me see where. If you're on hold, hang in there. I'm going to go to the phones after the break. All right. Okay. Oh my goodness. We'll be back shortly, guys. There's a lot of internet outages this morning. All right, we'll be back in about a minute. Less than a minute, we'll be back. If you're on hold, hang in there. If you want to call in, the toll-free number's at the top of the live chat pin there, or the bottom, depending on which stream you're on. All right, we're back. My name is Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977. Welcome back, one and all. If you're on hold, stand by. If you'd like to call in, the number is toll-free, 888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. All right, so this primary challenge, so we got another Democratic socialist, a friend of Mamdani's, who's going to run against Hakeem Jeffries. And AOC wants nothing to do with it. He's a 27-year-old. His name is, I'm not even sure how to pronounce his name. Is it Asi? He's a Haitian American. His dad was a big Haitian musician, apparently. I never heard of him. And he's another Democratic socialist, and he's 27 years old. You know, it really is amazing. You know, why do you think that Bernie Sanders is an exception, you know? Why do you think all the Democratic Socialists are so young? Because they haven't grown up yet. Most of them still living off mommy and daddy, right? Mamdani never had a job before he got elected to that state office, and he didn't show up for over 80% of his votes, so has he ever really had a job? When Mamdani becomes mayor, this will be the first job perhaps he's ever had in his life. But Bernie Sanders didn't have, Bernie Sanders is the same path. He lived at home with his parents, and the first job he ever had, he was about 35. He got elected as mayor of the town that he's from in Vermont. So these Democratic Socialists, they all have a pattern. They get elected when they're young. They live with their parents long past when you should, and they live off their parents well into adulthood. They're basically losers, bums, non-productive people in society. And then, of course they're socialist, because they kind of live a socialist existence, and they don't understand how the real world works. Since they forget about making a payroll, they haven't even paid a bill. And these, look at this Democratic Socialist that got elected mayor. What was it? Was it Seattle? Right? She lives with her parents, and her parents financed her campaign. But I'll tell you, Hakeem Jeffries, they say, is laughing this off. Well, I expect him to publicly laugh it off. He's the Democrat minority leader, after all. But Hakeem Jeffries should not be laughing at all about this friend of Mamdani's, 27-year-old Democratic Socialist who was filed to challenge him in the primaries. I don't even know how to pronounce this guy's name properly. And I'll tell you right now, he's the odds favorite to win. Because the Democrat Party machine is broken. We know it's broken since Mamdani won in New York. And they got another one elected in Seattle as mayor. The Democrat Party machine is out of business. And the young Democrat voters, the ones that haven't gone MAGA, they like these Democratic Socialists because they're young and dumb too. They're very stupid people, and they don't understand the way of the world. And one thing I noticed this with the Parkland kids, when they first started talking, it was so strange. They would actually say, and this is the main thinking of these Democratic Socialist youth these days, they'll say, well, I'm younger than you, so you're going to be dead before me. So since I'm going to live in this world past your death date, my opinions are more valid because I've got more time on earth left than you, right? Well, does that mean that newborn babies that are born every second of every day, their opinion should matter more than the baby born a minute before? It's a very juvenile way of thinking. But that's the Democrat socialist mentality, and this is the new trend. So Hakeem Jeffries is in big trouble, and it has happened more than once that party leaders in the House have lost their primaries, right? That's right. Remember Eric Cantor? Oh, that was brutal. That was a brutal one. All right, let's go to the phones. 888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello, I'm Adam from Burnswick. I just had a question. Why the fuck you...
No, there you go. Second dump of the day. I thought I would hang out before you got to the dump portion. If you're on hold, stand by as we wait for the delay to re-engage. You know what's going on here on the phones? Have you noticed what's happening? Since Trump is releasing the Epstein files, they're in a panic. That's what's going on. What are they going to do when they've all been released and they don't have them as a mystery anymore? See, now that they've been, I got to tell you, so much of the internet is down right now. It's amazing. Holy smokes. Yeah. Almost every website I use is down this morning. There's a major internet outage, at least here in South Florida. It started with X. X is back. But there's a lot of websites that are down this morning. Well, whatever. The show must go on and will continue to go on. But see, now that the files have not been released, they can say anything's in them, right? It doesn't matter because no one really knows. That's why President Trump wants everything to be released. He's tried to release them before, but the federal judges holding them wouldn't happen. Now, one thing I'm curious about, what files does this cover? Does this cover, see, you know what I was talking, if you're on hold, hang in there. We're waiting for the delay to re-engage. There's documents that the Congress have, and there's documents at the Justice Department. The Justice Department documents are under seal from Democrat federal judges. So hold on, you're on hold. So do these? Will this bill that they passed, this Epstein bill, cover the sealed ones? I'm not sure. We'll find out. I want to talk about life imaging FLA. You know, I've been sharing with you the last few days stories of people who were completely healthy and found out they had all kinds of serious problems when they went over and had the scans at Life Imaging FLA. They had no symptoms. And in fact, most of the stories are people that went over to get peace of mind because someone in their family had problems. One person, they had a cousin in their family that had a heart attack. They found out they had over 80% blockage. They had no symptoms, but they went in because of their cousin. Someone else, somebody in their family had cancer, so they went in and got the scan for cancer, and they found out they had cancer. You know, Life Imaging FLA is all about preventative health. Finding out you've got heart problems, finding out you have cancer before, well, things develop, before you have that heart attack, before you have that cardiac arrest, before you get diagnosed with, you find out early so it can be treated and taken care of before you got a bigger problem. And the month of November is Men's Health Awareness Month. And Life Imaging FLA, of course, is here to help. Life Imaging FLA offers free heart scans with a few minimum requirements that's valued at $699. While you're there, make sure you ask about their full body cancer screening for that ultimate peace of mind. Life Imaging FLA is all about proactive healthcare. They're saving lives through early detection every day. Listen to this. According to the National Cancer Institute, over 4.75 million cancer deaths have been prevented through early detection and screening. This November, take control of your health. Visit Life Imaging FLA and start living proactively. They have locations in Broward, Palm Beach, and Dade County. Pick up your cell phone and call pound 250 and say free heart scan. You'll be connected in seconds. That's pound 250 and say free heart scan. Pound 250 and say free heart scan. You will be connected in seconds. All right, the delay is re-engaged, and we'll go back to the phones. There's one opening on the board at 888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I am from New York. I want to say, why do you hate us so bad? You got a lot of hate in your heart. You hate Mom Donnie. You hate the Jeffrey. You are a racist, man.
Who do I hate?
Why are you so racist, dude?
Who do I hate?
Why are you so racist, man? You are a racist, bro.
Really?
You just say you hate black people. Just say it. Say you hate black people. Say it. Please say it for me.
Why would I lie to the audience? Why would I lie? Excuse me. Why would I lie to the audience? I'm not going to lie to the audience.
Say niggas.
Oh, there we go. All right. Second dump of the day. You know, this is an amazing thing. If you're on hold, stand by. I love it. This is great. You know, 2 dumps, 2 calls in a row, 2 dumps. You know, it really shows you the panic going on the left about what President Trump is. Is that the 3rd dump of the day? There's a panic going on. You know, I was talking earlier about our calls. This is the only show anywhere in the United States that takes calls 100% screenless and unvetted. And I talk about this sometimes because I think that's one of the many things that make this show the best show anywhere. No one does this. We don't have to do that. We could have somebody answer the phones like every other show does. We stumbled into it by accident because when I first started doing a talk show, it was overnights, and they wouldn't pay me, but they would pay a board op. So I said, well, I'll run my own board and answer my own phones. So it was $5 an hour they paid. That was the board op pay at the time. So I did it. And then when I got to the level where I had a board op and could get paid too, I kept doing it that way. Because I think it makes the show more interesting for all kinds of reasons. But one of them is anyone can call in at any time and call us out on anything we say. Anytime, when you call in, no one answers the phone. I just put you on hold. No one, including me, knows who's on hold until I say, you're on the air, what's your name, where are you calling from? No one else does that. Now, some will claim they do screenless calls. They're lying. Okay? And that is, you know, those on the left, That is a privilege and an option you have on this program. Totally screenless, unvetted calls every time we're taking calls. No one else does that. No one. And they won't either. And you have the ability to call us out on anything we say and do. And look what they do. They don't have any arguments. They can't tear down anything we say. They just use perversions and profanities and dirty words that can't be used on the air, forcing us, or god-awful racist words, forcing us to discontinue the call. The winning that President Trump is doing is so spectacular, these liberals can't even put together an argument. Right? They can't even put together an argument. It's amazing. And what's triggered this unhingedness that you're hearing now is President Trump calling on Congress to vote today, which they're doing, to release all of the Epstein documents. That has them in a panic because they're not going to have that to hold over Trump's head and make crap up all the time because the actual documents are going to be out there soon. All right, we're going to take our break for the top of the hour. The final hour of the show is about to begin. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian Craig. Our number is toll-free, 888-465-2631. We'll be back right after this break. Hello? It keeps going to voicemail. We're coming back in seconds. We're back. Okay. All right, we're back. I was trying to get Steve, but I couldn't get Steve on the line. I don't know if you caught the behind-the-scenes talk, but we're trying. All right. Back to the phones, to our unglued liberals. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. Once, twice. All right, you missed your chance.
All right.
You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Get Steve on the line. I don't know if you caught the behind the
James from Boca.
James, turn down the volume in the background.
Yes, I just did. I'm sorry.
All right, what's
James
up?
from Boca.
Hey, James.
Hey, I went to Publix this morning just now. The sale ends tomorrow, so you can get your Publix or your turkeys at Publix for 49 cents
a pound. That's
and then
correct.
yep. And then only till tomorrow. And then on the Epstein thing, like everything before, he released John F. Kennedy, Martin Luther King, and this. What are they going to come after next? What are they going to want next?
Well, you know, President Trump said yesterday in the Oval Office, okay? He said no matter what they release, it'll never be enough, right? And the JFK and the MLK files both came out. Nothing was in them. And the reason there's nothing in these files is criminals don't document and file away their crimes, right? So there's, so I'm expecting the files to be released, for the most part, to be a nothing burger, although these are much more recent than Kennedy and MLK. So maybe there'll be some nuggets in there, but they'll never be satisfied. You know, and they'll after the president, it's a bill. It's called the Epstein bill, and my guess is their first thought is, okay, let's fill it up with objectionable earmarks so they don't pass it, because the anti-Trump forces don't want this to happen. And then they're going to try to hold up the release for as long as they can, and then try to release something that's completely almost like 100% redacted. They're going to do whatever they can do to try to prolong this.
Pam released, yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, it's a mess. It's just a mess. But I'm glad Trump's dealing with it now and not next year when we're in an election year.
Yes.
You know,
I just wish people would leave him alone so he could do his job.
Well, yesterday...
That's it. That's all I want.
Okay, appreciate the call. Yesterday, guys, there was something amazing, okay? And I mentioned this earlier, and it's very, very important. At the beginning of the show, I went through this, just one of the most brilliantly investigated and sourced news articles I've read in a long time. Miranda Devine on the connection between the President Trump butler attempted assassin and the Charlie Kirk assassin. They're in that same furry fetish movement, and they have proof of it. And she did a very detailed article about it, Miranda Devine. And I read through the entire article early in the show. It's a very long and detailed article, but I took the time to do it because it was so important. And that's a direct connection between the assassination of Charlie Kirk and the attempted assassination where the president was shot in Butler, and Corey was killed, and 2 MAGA patriots were shot in the stands behind him. That to be involved in that furry fetish thing where people have a sexual attraction to people dressed up in, I guess, like Disney character costume. It's a very strange fetish. That's such a small fringe perversion. There can't be too many of those guys around. So and you put that together with both assassination, the attempt and the assassination of Charlie Kirk in Utah. The tactics used it was almost like the same person did both, right? So so that's a major connection. That article dropped yesterday. And it's a very upsetting article because the entire public narrative we've gotten about the Butler shooter crooks has been false. President Trump on True Social commented on a meme of Pam Bondi. When I saw it yesterday, I was in shock that he commented on this on True Social. And what it is, it's a meme. It's a photograph of Pam Bondi sitting down, and she's being screamed at by the Chris Farley Saturday Night Live character, the guy that says, "I live in a van down by the river." I don't know the name of the character, but I remember that skit. It was very funny. And it says on the meme, he's yelling at Pam Bondi, "For the love of God, just arrest somebody." And that guy was known for his screaming, right? That character. Trump commented on that meme yesterday. And then yesterday afternoon, President Trump had an Oval Office press conference. And he talked about a lot of things. But one of the reporters, he was hoarse. And I noticed right away that he was hoarse. And a reporter asked him about it. And President Trump said something that I don't think was honest, but he didn't want to hurt, for the cabinet. And he said he was yelling at somebody over some trade deals. I don't think that's the case. I think he was yelling at Pam Bondi and Kash Patel and maybe Dan Bongino over that Miranda Devine article that dropped yesterday. When I went through that article, it is a powerful article. And President Trump knows her well. She's interviewed him, I think, twice for her podcast that she does for the New York Post called Pod Force One. And she's interviewed all the top people in the administration, including Susie Wiles, who does very few interviews. And I think he was yelling at them over that Miranda Devine article. I think that's, and let me tell you, I've never heard President Trump hoarse like that. So so he said he was yelling. For him to be that hoarse from yelling, as much as he talks and projects at rallies and on stages, and have never heard him like that, that's something else. Yeah. So that Miranda Devine article, it's on my X, Brian Craig Show on X. You guys should get that article and read it. I went through the whole thing earlier. When Steve's going to join us, I'm going to talk maybe we'll talk a little bit about it some more. And I hope that you guys read it so that you can comment on it. And you put that together. Do you agree with me that that's probably why the president was hoarse yesterday? I think so. And he's probably he's got to be angry at Pam Bondi to comment on this meme of the Chris Farley character screaming at her, "For the love of God, just arrest somebody." I was in shock that he commented on that meme. And it's the second time he's done that, something like that. Remember, he posted that text message he sent to Pam Bondi a few weeks back. Yeah. So I think that Miranda Devine article yesterday in the New York Post, which is an amazing article, he blew a stack. And Kash Patel is really screwing up. There's stuff going on with his girlfriend. He got into a little bit of trouble for flying to go hook up with his girlfriend. You might have seen this over the weekend. I mean, And he's given her a security detail, which is some elite security team. Now, Kash Patel's girlfriend has been getting a lot of harassment by some of these anti-Semites, okay? I get that. They've been accusing her of terrible things, saying she's Mossad, and I can believe she's getting threats. But they're not married, and they've been together for a while, and they're not married. And Kash Patel, his girlfriend is way out of his league. If he wasn't famous or the director of the FBI and at that level, he would have no chance with a girl like her. But they're not married, and I haven't heard anything about them being engaged. And I don't think Kash Patel is doing the right thing here. Maybe she doesn't want to. But you don't fly around on the government private jet on your to see your girlfriend to hook up after some game you're at, and don't expect the left to go after you. That was not a smart thing that he did. Okay, it was a mistake. And he has this super elite FBI team protecting his girlfriend. He should either put a ring on her and get married immediately, and have President Trump perform the ceremony, or break up with her and let her go off in her country music career and be safe away from all the harassment she's getting because she's with him. And he shouldn't be worrying about his girlfriend so much and get to the bottom of these things, then Miranda Devine is dropping. All right, we're going to take our break. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. My name is Brian Craig. Our number is 888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. We'll be right back. Yeah, the call, it keeps going to voicemail. I don't know what's wrong. Can you call out on it? Can you call out to me on it? All right, call me. Call me. Okay. All right, hurry up. All right, call. 888-465-2631. Yep. Yeah, 888-GO-CANE-1. All right. Yeah, okay. It's not ringing. You have to use this phone. It's not coming through. The call's not coming through from that line. Something's wrong with that phone. Well, I don't know. Everybody else is getting through. Something's wrong with the phone. I don't know if it's not connected, if it's blocked. I don't know, but the call's not coming through from it. What are you getting when you call? Yeah, but we're coming back in less than a minute. I got to get Barry. So can you use this phone? Well, what? Yeah, I can call on his line and his regular phone. All right, give me a minute. I got to get Barry. Okay, hold on. I'll call back on his regular phone. Hey. All right, it's time to check in with Attorney Barry Siegel from the Siegel Law Group. Attorney Barry Siegel, good morning. Nope, hold on. Let me see here. We're having, you know what it is? It could be the internet problems. Attorney Barry Siegel, good morning.
Good morning. How are you, Brian?
I'm doing well. What do you have for us this morning?
Well, what I have this morning is something I'm very excited about. Is we are offering only for Steve Kane listeners a very special holiday special. So, and that is, you know, our Black Friday. Let's call it our Black Friday for anybody who schedules a consultation with us before the end of November and comes in before the end of this year. They will get $1,000 off any estate planning package.
Oh my goodness!
That they choose. Just the only thing they have to do is let us know that they came in through being Steve Kane Show listeners,
okay,
and they will be entitled to that. So That is something that we're doing just for Steve Kane listeners. Not only is it a Black Friday special, but it's a way to get things done before the end of the year so that you can feel good that you got your New Year's resolution done, that this is taken care of, it's behind you, you don't have to worry about it anymore, and you have that peace of mind.
Well, that's awesome. So it's not only a no-charge in-office consultation, you're getting $1,000 off. That's amazing, Barry.
Yeah, so that's through the end of the year. Whoever's going to be able to take advantage of that will need to schedule before the end of November. So you got a couple of weeks left.
So that doesn't mean that you don't have to have the meeting with at the Siegel Law Group before the end of November. The meeting, you just have to schedule it for some time for the rest of the year by the end of November. Does that make sense?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. It's to have the consultation on the books before the end of November, and then
well, that's amazing.
We'll get you in as quickly as possible, but in December, and then you'll save some money and have a plan that works.
Well, listen, let me give the number. It's toll free 855-FLA-3782. That's 855-FLA-3782. And online, SiegelLawGroup.com. All right, Barry, that's great. We'll talk later in the week.
All right. Thank you. Take care.
All right. Take care. Take care. It's such a strange thing. We become so dependent on these things. There's been a major internet outage in South Florida, and I've noticed it first hit X, and it's hit a lot of the conservative news sites that I use, and I'm sure it's just a coincidence. Who knows? But, we become so dependent on these. So all my show prep is on X, and X came back online, but most of the articles I have are on websites that are still down. But that's okay. I got everything right here under my Trump 2028 hat, and we'll just have to go from the top of my head. Welcome back, everyone. My name's Brian. This is the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977. Okay, there's another thing. The media, media bias isn't just on what story angle they take. Media bias also involves what stories they report and don't report, and what they leave out of stories. Okay? President Trump meeting with the Crown Prince from Saudi Arabia. They're making a big deal about this. And they're leaving a huge piece out of the story. All right? They're leaving a huge piece out of the story. They're saying that first White House visit by the Crown Prince since the journalist Khashoggi was murdered by the prince. Now, I'm not supporting what happened to this Khashoggi guy, okay? But they're leaving a lot out of the story. And there's some content. When I tell you what they're leaving out of the story, this is not in any way, shape, or form to justify what happened to him. But there are some things that need to be said that no one is reporting. One of them is this. Okay, now remember, I can't remember what country he went to, but he went to the Saudi embassy, and that's when they killed him and chopped him up. He had been a strong opponent of the government of Saudi Arabia and the royal family. What was he thinking walking into one of their embassies? Did he think he was just going to walk into one of their embassies and walk out alive? He should have known better. I mean, what he did was incredibly stupid. But here's the other thing. They keep telling you this Washington Post writer, this journalist, this Washington Post reporter, there's all these different titles they give him, but it always involves being a reporter or a journalist with the Washington Post. Well, that may very well be true, but I'm here to tell you that that's a cover story. That Khashoggi was probably CIA. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. I've mentioned many times, the first time, I'm not from New York. I grew up here in Florida, from Ohio. So first time I heard of Donald Trump was on a show that I watched every week, as did many other people, Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. Guys, remember that? Robin Leach's Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. And that was the first time I ever saw President Trump. He was on there. I never heard of him before. And I was like, who's this guy? I never heard of him. He's so rich. And he had all these celebrities praising him. But in that era, when that was a great show. Any of you guys used to watch that? Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. He did on Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous, they did regular, what was the name of the guy on Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous again? I just forgot his name. Did I say Regis Philbin? Not Regis. What was the guy's name? Robin Leach. Robin Leach on Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous, it seemed like every other episode, he was doing a story on the richest man in the world. Robin Leach. Did I say Regis Philbin? It was Robin Leach's Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. We're having a lot of technical problems today, okay? The internet's down. I can't get to any of my sound bites or show prep, and I can't get Steve connected on the show, okay? And so during the last couple of breaks, I've been dealing with trying to get Steve on the show, plus I can't get to any of my show prep, so I'm a little distracted. So if I said Regis Philbin instead of Robin Leach, my apologies. But anyway, about every other episode, it seemed, he had the richest man in the world at the time as a guest on Robin Leach's Lifestyle of the Rich and Famous. And it was a man by the name of Adnan Khashoggi. Adnan Khashoggi. Richest man in the world at the time. And I watched a lot of shows about Adnan Khashoggi because I watched that show every week. And he was Elon Musk rich at the time, adjusted for inflation. He is the uncle of this Washington Post journalist that was murdered by the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, okay? He was Adnan Khashoggi's nephew. Well, what I came to find out, I did not know this until they killed the so-called journalist at the Saudi embassy. But the richest man in the world, Adnan Khashoggi, was an international arms dealer. It was one of his big businesses. And he actually brokered the arms for hostages transaction between the Reagan administration and Iran. So that's a CIA op. So he's the nephew of the guy that did the arms transaction for the arms for Iran-Contra, the arms for hostages with Reagan and Iran. So this is not to justify them killing this guy and chopping him up. And Adnan Khashoggi was I can't remember his exact name. It's been a long time. It doesn't justify them killing the guy, chopping him up, and taking him out in briefcases from the embassy. I get that. I'm not justifying that. But you got to know who he is. The media are trying to portray this as this is just some Washington Post reporter who is like a defector from Saudi Arabia that they killed. That's not the whole story. He's probably been a spy for us against Saudi Arabia for a long, long time. And that's probably why they killed him. Whether it doesn't justify it, but it's an important piece of the story. It's an interesting piece of the story. And no one in the media covers any of that. They're out there trying to make President Trump look like he's doing something that's just unthinkable, meeting with this prince after what he did to this Khashoggi guy. Believe me, the guy's was a spy for us, CIA or some other three-letter agency. But the media are controlled by the deep state in so many ways. The ones that know don't report this. And some of the media, probably they may not even know. They didn't watch Robin Leach's Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous every weekend like I did when I was a kid. Right? So the name may not, all this stuff, they may not even know. Or they don't have enough historical background to know about his uncle's role with Iran-Contra. But I think a lot of them do know. I don't think this is some specialized knowledge that I just coincidentally or happen to know. I think this is pretty common knowledge with people that follow news and events. And I think they're not reporting it on purpose because he was a spy working for us against Saudi Arabia, which is fine. If he's working for us, he's a good spy, but get that out. right? Okay, we're going to take our break for the bottom of the hour. Our number is 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian Craig. We'll be right back. Okay, it's working now. We're in break. It's the bottom. All right, I'm going to put you on hold, okay, for a minute. I'll be right back. Can you get, okay. Okay, are you there, Steve?
I'm here.
We got 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Okay. Okay, I've got about a minute. Okay.
All right, we're back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. Steve Kane joining us. Hey, Steve.
Good morning. How you doing? This is a wild story, this one that we were talking about with Miranda Devine.
Oh.
And the bottom line, I'm a little confused on this, to tell you the truth, but the bottom line of the story is that based on what I saw yesterday, they were discussing the first murder attempt against Trump.
Correct.
And there was evidently a ton of information that the FBI had after the investigation that they were never released to the public.
The Biden FBI, right, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, no, I'm talking about the present FBI. And they were talking about, people were dealing with it, but they weren't dealing with it. It was bizarre stuff yesterday.
Well, can I tell? I've been following this. I've been following this pretty closely.
Let me just hold you to it for a second. I just want to throw out a couple of things that I remember that scattered.
Yeah.
But just see if you can include them in, if you have any mention of them. The one was this thing with the furries. Both the assassination attempts against Trump, the guys were into, and also the furries appeared in the assassination of the Charlie.
Yes, correct.
So there's a whole line of questioning that the FBI has been involved in. They've never really commented on publicly. Yeah. And it's bizarre. And that line that you have about arrest somebody already, I mean, there's obviously a lot of material they have that's highly relevant that has not been made public yet. Well, and I don't get it.
Well, okay, so yeah. So I've been following this really closely. What happened? There's been a couple of beats to the story. Okay, Tucker Carlson dropped a video last week on the Butler assassin, right, Crooks, and yes. that was last week. And he says we've got no info. It was a very detailed story that we've got no information. How could a person in today's society, especially his age, have no online footprint, you know? And then Miranda Devine had this is like 3 to 4 days after the Tucker story. Miranda Devine's story dropped yesterday, the New York Post. And it answered every question Tucker asked that he didn't have the answers for last week. Okay? And in that story, I read the whole thing like 3 or 4 times. I've read it now. They buried the lead on her and put the most important connection, the furry friends part, at the bottom of the story, but it's still in there. And I was talking, Steve, that I think President Trump went hoarse yelling at Pam Bondi and Kash Patel yesterday. Because
it's interesting speculation. Any facts?
Yes, I'll tell you. Yes. He was. If you saw his press conference, he was really super hoarse yesterday.
I saw it. Yeah.
And I've never heard him that way before. And he talks a lot, and he gives speeches and rallies, and he always maintains his voice.
He said it was because he yelled at somebody who did something stupid.
No, he was. A reporter asked him about his hoarseness. He said he was yelling at somebody. He didn't say who. It had something to do with a trade deal. But it
had something to do with it. It was stupid
that involved a trade deal. I don't believe that involved a trade deal. I don't believe that trade deal part. I think the Miranda Devine. There were 2 things that happened yesterday before the press conference. The Miranda Devine story dropped, and then President Trump commented on this thing about Pam Bondi online. For the love of God, arrest somebody. I think he was screaming at Pam Bondi and Kash Patel and maybe Dan Bongino. But that Miranda Devine story is what he was yelling at somebody about. And the only people he'd be yelling at would be Pam Bondi or Kash Patel. And I think he read that same, because Miranda Devine has interviewed him twice in the past like 3 months, hour-long interviews for her podcast that she does for the New York Post.
Why would they be holding back information? I don't understand. That's what I don't understand. That's the bottom line.
That's probably what the president got hoarse yelling at them about. You know, and the thing about it is both the Butler shooter and the Charlie Kirk assassin were both into that furry sex fetish. That is such a fringe sex fetish. How many people can there be in that end up shooting?
Which is all about the bisexuality too. Yeah. What do you call it?
They like to have sex with guys dressed up as stuffed animals.
Yeah, but it's a gay thing.
It's gay, but it's beyond gay because
it's gay plus.
Gay plus infinity. I mean, it's such a bizarre, sicko fetish. It's like having it's a sex fetish, having sex with other men that are dressed like Disney characters, stuffed animals, and it's very strange.
Why are they not releasing it?
Well, it is released now through somebody gave the information to Miranda Devine.
No, they didn't put any of it. I mean, they made reference to it, they never really went into it.
No, she gave there was an update to a lot of times on Miranda Devine's story. I think has been updated from the print edition. The online edition has been updated from the print edition. I read, I'm so glad, how I've been doing the first hour before the radio show starts in the pre-show. I read through the whole story, and I'm glad I did because the internet went down. so I can't go through it with you now on the air, but I think the online edition may have been updated from the print edition because when it comes to this furry sex weirdo thing, perversion, she gave the name of the website and the usernames that they used. So she had that crooks used. So she had there was a lot of detail in that. So someone gave Miranda Devine everything. I don't know who. It had to be somebody from the FBI. But the president must have gone through the roof when he read that story yesterday. That's the only I can't imagine him yelling over a trade deal. Everything's going perfectly.
I can't imagine that they're not gonna give us more information now that they've whet our appetite.
Oh yeah, more's going to be coming. There's too many people looking into it. And Miranda Devine does a podcast for the New York Post. It's called Podcast One. It's a New York Post podcast.
I know. I read it every day.
Okay.
Practically.
So she has interviewed Trump twice on that podcast. It's only went live like 3 or 4 months ago. She interviewed Trump twice, Susie Wiles, JD, all of them. So she is on the inside of the upper tier of the Trump administration. So somebody at the cabinet level gave her that information. Somebody a heartbeat away gave her that information. So I think Trump is onto it big time, so much so he lost his voice. Before we move on, though, Barry Siegel in his call-in made a big announcement that I'm going to be telling you guys about a lot because he's given kind of like an early Christmas present to the audience. If you call Attorney Barry Siegel and schedule a consultation, you have to call during the month of November, but the appointment, you can make the appointment anytime for the rest of 2025. If you mention you heard about him on the Steve Kane Show, you get $1,000 off your legal services. It's pretty amazing, huh? $1,000 off your legal services. So call Attorney Barry Siegel, 855-FLA-3782. He just dropped that during his call-in today. 855-FLA-3782. 855-FLA-3782. You got to mention the Steve Kane Show to get the $1,000 off. And it's, by the way, it's a no-charge in-office consultation. So, no, things are happening fast. And this story, Steve, see, Tucker's story last week had no information, just questions, right? Miranda Devine's column answered all the questions that Tucker Carlson asked last week in his piece that he dropped it was like maybe Friday he dropped it, Thursday or Friday he dropped it. So
did you read the answers?
I read it. All the answers are Miranda Devine's column. Everything.
You read them?
Yeah.
I mean, can you share some of them?
Well, I told you. He's in these furry sex groups. And she has all the details on that. She went through all the different websites. He was a rabid liberal making threats for years and was allowed to get away with it. And he's got this contact, some anarchist in Norway. And what this tells us is that not only are both assassinations the assassination attempt and the Kirk assassination Butler and Charlie Kirk are connected. The same people are behind it. These two guys are patsies who were recruited by the same person through this perv furry sex cult. And the shooting sites, Steve, that was done the same way too, right? On the roof with the rifle it was the same person planned the shootings as well. Now, before we break, because we got the gold report coming up, I want to tell everyone about Coastal Weight Loss Secret. And I was talking to somebody about this the other day, and they were everybody always asks me, how'd you do it, all this stuff, and what I told them was this: I lost over 35 pounds, and it was this is just the best way to explain it. It felt like I wasn't even really trying to lose weight, because with Coastal Weight Loss Secret, it's so easy. No exercise, no shots, no pills, no injections, none of that stuff. Those shots, I don't get it. Those shots and pills people are taking that are all fad now that make everybody look sickly. You have to take those for the rest of your life or you gain the weight back. They look terrible. They don't look natural. Plus, they got to take them forever. I didn't exercise, didn't take any of those shots or injections or pills, didn't starve myself, and I ate foods I would normally eat. It was as if I wasn't even trying to lose weight, and I did. And you have time to do it before the holiday parties and all of that come around. Call Coastal Weight Loss Secret and schedule your no-charge consultation. 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. That's 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightloss.secret.com. We'll be back with the gold report after this. All right, I'm going to put you on hold, Steve.
Okay.
Hey there, we have just over a minute. I'm going to put you on hold. I'll be right back with you. Hold on. Oh, what was that? Oh, I'm sorry, what was that? I said, will you be able to cover for me tomorrow? I'll be out of reach. Just tomorrow? Yeah, well, I don't know for tomorrow, but definitely for tomorrow, but I'll be in okay, no problem. No problem. We'll do it. All right, take care. Hold on. All right, you there, Steve?
Lord?
Steve.
I'm here.
Okay, hold on. Stand by. We got less than a minute. I got William on hold, so.
Oh, okay.
All right. Okay, I'm going to conference in William. All right, 20 seconds, William. Stand by.
Okay.
All right, and it's time for today's Gold and Precious Metals Report. On the line, we have William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated in Boca. William Youngerman, good morning.
Good morning.
How are the metals looking today?
Precious metals are looking very good, actually, after a pullback yesterday and a test overnight of the $4,000 support level, and then bouncing off of that very nicely. We saw gold yesterday trading in a range of $4,006 all the way up to $4,108. And close out the day down $36.20 at $4,044.50. Are you hearing me okay?
I am, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Silver down 35 cents at $50.13. Platinum closing down $9 yesterday at $1,532. And palladium was down $6 at $1,375. As I said, overnight we went down, tested that low on gold at right around $39.97, $4,000. and bounced off of that and came roaring back to $4,069. And right now we're at $4,063.50. That's up $19. Silver up 12 cents at $50.25 the ounce. Platinum up $8 at $1,540. And palladium up $19 at $13.94. So the metals continue to trade in a sidewards range, support at $4,000 for gold, silver, support right around $50. And anything near those numbers seems to be where they're buying it up and taking it right back up again.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, things are looking good. You know, William, when it comes to gold, what are some of the best buys in the fractional gold right now?
Fractional gold, you can get the 10th ounce gold eagles. You can get the 10th ounce gold maple leafs. We also have smaller gold bars, 5-gram bars. So we have many different items you can choose from on the fractionals also.
Yeah.
All at very good values.
Yeah, and those 10th ounce coins, 1/10 ounce gold coins, the eagles, those are very popular coins. And, you know, a cool thing about them is, well, when you get 10 of them, you got an ounce of gold. That's pretty cool. But the other thing is, when you get fractional gold, when you need some money for something, you don't have to sell off as much gold, right? You can do it in the fractional sizes, so you know what I mean. So it's a pretty good bargain.
Right.
All right, listen, William Youngman opens up at 10 a.m. Give him a call, 1-800-327-5010, 1-800-327-5010. His address is 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca, on the first floor of the Bank of America building, immediately east of US 1 Federal Highway on the south side of Palmetto Park Road. And you can find both his address and phone number online at williamyoungerman.com. All right, William Youngerman, take care.
Okay, have a great day.
All right, you too. Yeah, so Steve, see, now that I am 98% confident that Trump was hoarse yesterday because he was pissed off about the Justice Department dropping the ball on these assassination jerks with their furry friends. I think he went through the roof yesterday. And have you ever heard him when he was hoarse before?
No, but I mean, I'd like to see more evidence linking the two.
Well, these things dropped yesterday, and he put this thing out at Steve. You probably this picture that he commented on of Pam Bondi getting screamed at by Chris Farley, saying, "For the love of God, just arrest somebody." You put that together with this at the same time, and he's hoarse. And when he said he was yelling at somebody over some trade deal, and he was very vague about it, you put that all together, he was yelling about the assassins. I have no doubt in my mind. And I think we're going to find he may not want to do it before the midterms, but Kash Patel and Pam Bondi after the midterms are probably going to be replaced. I would bet you.
You think so? That would be a big story.
Well, it's what Trump said yesterday, for the love of God, just arrest somebody. We got a couple little things going on, and neither of them happened because of Pam Bondi. Comey and Letitia. Those did not happen because of Pam Bondi. They happened because of the Halligan girl that Trump brought in. She did a runaround Pam Bondi. They're not doing their job. And Kash Patel is so caught up in the drama around his girlfriend. I don't even know how he has time to be FBI director right now. You know, I mean, what's going on with his girlfriend is god awful. I don't, I missed that story somehow. Well, there's been there's been a couple things going on with the girlfriend. There was a little bit of a scandal which I could overlook, but his girlfriend is a country singer. Yeah, and he flew on the FBI jet. On the private jet to go hook up with her a week or two ago. And there was a little controversy in that he shouldn't have been doing that. But she's been getting harassed by anti-Semites. She's Jewish. And she may be the only female Jewish country music act in America, right? I don't know. A lot of Jewish girls have country music careers. I don't know of any others. But I don't know a lot of country musicians. It's not my kind of music.
Isn't Dolly Jewish?
Dolly Parton Jewish? I don't think so.
It's a joke.
Oh, okay.
The jokes.
A lot of serious stuff going on. Okay, I'm sorry.
Lighten the mood here.
Yeah, that's right. But anyway, she's been getting harassed a lot by anti-Semites. And they've been, she's been accused of being a Mossad agent, Kash Patel's Israeli all this crap. It's just god awful. And she's been receiving threats, and Kash Patel gave her yesterday, it came out in the news, a super elite, like a very elite FBI security team, like Navy SEAL, Green Beret level security team, the top security team at the FBI's disposal. Which, I mean, she's facing threats and everything else. But his girlfriend is way outside of his league. If he wasn't famous, this girl wouldn't even look at him. You know what I mean? So he's too wrapped up in the hottest girl he's ever been with and ever dated to be focused on much else. So, we don't have the arrest we want, and he's distracted. And, and with this stuff that came out from Crooks and yesterday, it's just too much. And I lost patience with Kash Patel and Dan Bongino multiple times. And there was a story I'll tell you about off the air, because it's been reported in the Gateway Pundit, but I'd have to see it reported somewhere else before I went on the air with it. But there's been a story that's been going around for about a week that the pipe bomber from January 6th has been identified. And if it's the person identified in the Gateway, I'll tell you off the air, Steve. I'll call you off the air and tell you. If it's the person identified by the Gateway Pundit, everything is going to change in this country. It would be the historical record of January 6th would be completely rewritten if the Gateway Pundit's reporting on the identity of the J6 pipe bomber is true. It's a big one. But I need it in another news source before I report it, to you on the air. I'm not confident. The Gateway Pundit's very good. I read them every day. They've only been inaccurate on one other story that I'm aware of. And I haven't seen anyone else, Fox, Breitbart, no one report the story that they reported last week. But Bongino said a couple days ago that they're close to a big announcement on the pipe bomber from January 6th. So if Kash Patel and Dan Bongino come forward with the pipe bomber, especially if it's the person that the Gateway Pundit says it is, all will be forgiven. Because if this story is true, just because something's a conspiracy doesn't mean it's not true, right? I think a lot of people think conspiracy or
You say this is someone I would know?
No, it's not someone you would know, but who they are with and who they were with on January 6th, you would know, and it would change everything involving the fake news narrative of January 6th. So if Dan Bongino and Kash Patel come forward with the J6 arrest has been teased by Bongino this week, and it's the person that the Gateway Pundit says is the January 6th pipe bomber, everything about Kash Patel and Bongino will be forgiven on a dime. Because it would be one of the biggest arrests we've ever seen with the connections that this person has, if it's that person. But again, no one else has reported it other than the Gateway Pundit, which makes me a little reluctant. So that's why I saw the story when it first broke in the Gateway Pundit a week ago, and I haven't shared it because the person they say
don't forget to call me after the show. You got me eaten up by curiosity now.
I'll call you. Yeah, but if it's that person, it'll be a ball of yarn or string or whatever that just will unravel everything. And I hope it is who the Gateway Pundit thinks it is, because that would open the door to what really happened on January 6th, especially where the person is. It's not a famous person, okay? It's not a famous person.
Well, how do I know them if they're not a famous person?
You'll know who they're with, and who they were with, and who they are now, and that's what'll blow everything up.
Can you give me just one, because I can't stand. Can you give me male, female?
Nope, not on the air. I'm not going to give any info. If it was reported in one more news source, I'd have to have a second.
Well, but male, female, without the name,
no,
surely.
it's too big of an accusation to make. And I've only seen one other person report it, and they seemed unsure of it and seemed to, maybe I shouldn't be reporting this. So no, I need it to be in another independent news source.
Well, I hate to tell you, you're not reporting it.
I can't. I'm not. You don't want to. It's too big of a thing to mess up. But I do want to report to you that Jupiter Joe Thomas. You want to give him a call. Annuities are amazing. Your money's not at risk. You're guaranteed an income stream every month for the rest of your life. And Joe Thomas, he describes it as you're giving yourself a pension, and sure enough, you are. Joe Thomas has over 30 years of experience in retirement planning. And he's a 5-time qualifying member of the $1 Million Roundtable, which is achieved by fewer than 1% of all financial advisors in the world. And he's offering you free consultations. And oh yeah, Jupiter Joe's based out of Jupiter. That's where Don Jr. and Eric Trump live. So you want to take financial advice from people that are based out of Jupiter, if you catch my drift on that. Give Joe Thomas a call. You can take advantage of this no-charge consultation no matter where you're located, in person in his office, on the phone, or through Zoom. 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. And online, jupiterjoe.com. All right, that's all the time we have for today. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian Craig. Steve has been here. This is Florida's longest running radio show. Tomorrow will be Wednesday already. Can you believe it? God bless Donald Trump. See you tomorrow, 6 a.m. All right, I'll call you in a little bit and I'll tell you. All right, Steve? Oh.
Hello?
Yeah, I'll call you in a little bit and tell you.
Okay.
All right, take care. All right. Listen, guys, thanks for watching. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, okay? My name's Brian Craig. This is where